I said, "Move, little girl. I don't care what your ticket says. This is my seat now, and no child is going to tell me what to do. Go back to coach where you belong." The man's voice sliced through the first-class cabin like broken glass. He sat in seat 3A with his arms crossed, his pale face flushed red with arrogance, staring down at the 10-year-old girl standing in the aisle. She held her boarding pass in both hands. The seat number was clear 3A, but the man didn't care. He leaned back, spread his legs wider, and smiled a cold, cruel smile that made the passengers nearby look away in discomfort. The little girl didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stood there holding her ticket, waiting for someone to make things right. What nobody on that plane knew was that her father was one of the wealthiest men in Texas, and what happened in the next few minutes would ground the entire flight and change how every single passenger saw the world. Before we continue, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and follow this story until the very end. Drop a comment with the city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. Now let's begin. Gloria Thompson felt Maya's small hand tighten around her fingers the moment they stepped through the automatic doors at Dallas Love Field Airport. "Gloria, I'm so excited," Maya whispered, her braids swinging as she bounced on her toes. "Daddy said I could watch the clouds from my window the whole time." Gloria smiled down at her. "That's right, sweetheart. Seat 3A, best view on the plane." Maya Richardson was 10 years old. Her hair was braided neatly with small purple and white beads that clicked together every time she moved her head. She wore a lavender hoodie with the word genius stitched across the front, a gift from her father after she won first place at the Texas State Math Competition 3 months ago. She wasn't the kind of child who talked about money or fancy things. She didn't mention that her house had 12 bedrooms or that her father owned 3 private jets. She was just Maya, a kid who loved numbers, loved books, and loved looking out airplane windows. "Did you memorize your seat number like I asked?" Gloria said as they walked toward the security line. 3A, Maya announced proudly. "Window seat, first class. Good girl." Gloria had been Maya's nanny for 4 years. She had watched her grow from a shy 6-year-old into a confident kind and remarkably mature little girl. Maya's father, Darnell Richardson, trusted Gloria completely. He was one of the most successful self-made billionaires in Texas, founder of Richardson Technologies, which he had built from nothing in his mother's garage when he was 23 years old. Now, worth over $4 billion, he had donated hundreds of millions to schools, hospitals, and community centers across the state. But today he was in meetings in New York, so Gloria was taking Maya to Phoenix to visit her grandmother. "This is your first time in first class," Gloria reminded her as they joined the boarding line. "Your daddy wanted to make it special." Maya's eyes sparkled. "I know. He said the seats are really big and you get free snacks." Gloria chuckled. "That's right. And you get to board first." They moved through security without any problems. Maya held her pink backpack close walking, with the kind of quiet confidence that made people smile at her. She was polite to the TSA agent, said "thank you" and "excuse me" without being reminded, and waited patiently while Gloria gathered their things. When they reached the gate, Maya pressed her face against the window, watching the planes taxi on the runway. "Gloria, look," she said, pointing. "That one's going to take off." Gloria stood beside her, watching the aircraft accelerate down the runway and lift into the sky. "That'll be us soon," Gloria said. "Ready?" Maya nodded eagerly. "Ready." The boarding announcement came 10 minutes later. First-class passengers were invited to board. Gloria took Maya's hand and they walked down the jet bridge together. Maya's heart was beating fast. She had flown many times before, but always in regular seats. This was different. This was special. Her daddy had told her she earned it not because of his money, but because she had worked so hard and made him so proud. They stepped onto the plane. The cabin was quiet. Soft lighting glowed from above. The seats were wide and leather, nothing like the cramped rows in economy. A flight attendant smiled at them as they entered. "Welcome aboard," she said warmly. "Can I help you find your seats?" "We're in 3A and 3B, Gloria said, showing their boarding passes. "Perfect. Right this way." Maya walked ahead, her eyes scanning the row numbers. 1, 2, 3. She stopped. Her smile disappeared. Seat 3A was not empty. A man sat there. He was heavy-set, maybe 55 years old, with thinning gray hair and a round, flushed face. His black polo shirt stretched tight across his stomach. A newspaper was spread open on his lap. He didn't look up when Maya stopped in front of him. Maya glanced at Gloria, then back at the man. Her voice was soft and polite. "Excuse me, sir. I think you're in my seat. I have 3A. She held up her boarding pass so he could see. The man finally looked at her. His pale blue eyes moved slowly from her face to the ticket in her hand, then back to her face. His lips curled into a smirk. "I think you're mistaken, little girl. This is my seat." Maya blinked. "But my ticket says 3A. See?" She pointed at the number. The man didn't even glance at it. He waved his hand dismissively. "There must be some mix-up. Why don't you go find a seat in the back? That's where children usually sit." Gloria stepped forward immediately, her body tensing. "Sir, she's correct. This is her assigned seat. Here's her boarding pass." She held it out toward him. He didn't take it. He didn't even look at it. "Lady, I told you. There's been a mistake. I'm comfortable here. Take the kid somewhere else." Gloria's jaw tightened. "Sir, this isn't a request. You're in her seat. Please check your own ticket." The man laughed a short, ugly sound. "I know where I'm supposed to be. I've been flying first class longer than you've been alive, probably. I'm not moving." Maya tugged on Gloria's sleeve. "Gloria, why won't he move?" Gloria crouched down to look her in the eyes. "Because some people think rules don't apply to them, sweetheart. But they're wrong. We're not going anywhere." She stood back up and faced the man directly. Her voice was calm but firm. "Sir, I'm asking you one more time. Please check your boarding pass and move to your correct seat." The man crossed his arms over his chest. "And I'm telling you one more time, I'm not moving. This seat is mine. Now stop making a scene and take her to coach." A passenger in the row behind them shifted uncomfortably. A woman across the aisle glanced over, then quickly looked away. The tension was spreading through the cabin like smoke. Maya's hands trembled slightly as she held her boarding pass. She didn't understand what was happening. She had done everything right. She had her ticket. She knew her seat number. Why was this man being so mean? "Sir," Gloria said, her voice rising slightly, "you have no right to take a child's seat. I don't know what your ticket says, but I know what hers says. 3A. You need to move." The man snorted. "I need to do nothing. What I need is for you to stop bothering me and let me enjoy my flight. You're not enjoying anything until you're in your correct seat. Lady, I'm warning you. You're warning me." Gloria's eyes flashed. "You're sitting in a 10-year-old girl's seat refusing to move, and you're warning me." The man's face turned a deeper shade of red. "Watch your tone. Watch your behavior." By now, several passengers were openly staring. A man 2 rows up had turned around in his seat. A young woman across the aisle was pretending to look at her phone, but her eyes kept darting toward the confrontation. Maya stood frozen in the aisle, her pink backpack hanging from her shoulders, her boarding pass clutched against her chest. She felt small, smaller than she'd ever felt before. This man was looking at her like she didn't belong, like she was nothing. But she wasn't nothing. She was Maya Richardson, and this was her seat. She took a deep breath and spoke again, her voice quiet but steady. "Sir, please. It's my first time in first class. My daddy got me this seat because I won a math competition. I just want to sit down." The man looked at her with something like contempt. "I don't care if you won the Nobel Prize, kid. I'm not moving. First class isn't for children. It's for people who actually earned it." Gloria's hands clenched into fists at her sides. "How dare you speak to her like that? How dare you keep bothering me? Get a flight attendant if you want. They'll tell you the same thing. I'm staying right here." Gloria turned sharply, looking for help. A flight attendant was already walking toward them, a tall woman with auburn hair pulled into a neat bun. Her name tag read Kimberly. "Is everything okay here?" Kimberly asked, her voice carefully neutral. "No," Gloria said firmly. "This man is sitting in my ward seat. She has 3A. He refuses to move." Kimberly turned to the man with a polite smile. "Sir, may I see your boarding pass?" The man sighed dramatically, as if this was all a tremendous inconvenience. I don't need to show you anything. I know where my seat is. Sir, I need to verify. Fine. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled boarding stub, thrusting it toward her. Here. Happy now. Kimberly took it and looked at it carefully. Her expression changed. Sir, she said slowly, your seat is 8C, not 3A. The words hung in the air. Gloria's eyes widened. 8C, that's not even in first class. The man's face went from red to purple. That's impossible. There's been a mistake. There's no mistake, sir. Your seat is in row 8. This young lady's seat is 3A. You need to move. The man didn't move. He gripped the armrests and set his jaw. I'm not going anywhere. Kimberly blinked. Excuse me. I said I'm not moving. I don't care what that paper says. I'm comfortable here. I'm staying. A collective gasp rippled through the nearby rows. Passengers who had been pretending not to watch were now openly staring. Someone in row 5 muttered, "Is this guy serious?" Gloria stepped closer to the man, her voice shaking with controlled fury. You just heard her. Your seat is 8C. You are not even supposed to be in first class. Now get up. The man looked at her with cold eyes. Make me. Sir, Kimberly said, her professional composure starting to crack. If you don't move to your assigned seat, I'll have to call the captain. Call whoever you want. I'm not moving for some kid who doesn't even belong here. Maya flinched at the words. She felt Gloria's hand squeeze her shoulder. Don't listen to him, Gloria whispered. He's wrong. You belong here more than he does. But Maya couldn't stop the burning feeling in her chest. Doesn't belong here. The words echoed in her head. She had heard words like that before. At school, when kids asked why her hair was different. At the country club, when women clutched their purses as she walked by. At the mall, when security followed her and Gloria through the stores. She knew what those words really meant. But she wasn't going to cry. She wasn't going to give this man the satisfaction. She looked up at him, her small face set with determination. Sir, I know you don't want to move, but you're in my seat, and that's not fair. My daddy taught me that fair is fair no matter who you are. So please, just go to your seat so we can all go to Phoenix. For a moment, something flickered in the man's eyes. Surprise, maybe, or discomfort. But it vanished quickly, replaced by that same cold sneer. Your daddy taught you that, huh? Well, let me teach you something, little girl. Life isn't fair. The strong take what they want. And right now, I want this seat. So run along. Gloria exploded. That's enough. You do not talk to a child that way. I don't care who you think you are. I know exactly who I am, the man snapped. I'm a paying customer who's been flying first class since before you were born, and I'm not being lectured by some nanny and her little... He stopped himself, but everyone heard what he almost said. The cabin went silent. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back. She would not cry. She would not. Gloria's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Finish that sentence. I dare you. The man's jaw twitched, but he didn't speak. Kimberly stepped between them, her face pale. I'm calling the captain. Please, everyone, let's stay calm. She hurried toward the cockpit. Passengers were openly recording now. A man in row 4 had his phone out. A woman behind him was whispering urgently to her husband. The college kid in the gray hoodie near row 6 was shaking his head in disbelief. This is insane, someone muttered. Just move, dude. He's not going to move, another voice said. Look at him. He thinks he's untouchable. Gloria pulled Maya closer, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. It's okay, sweetheart. The captain's coming. This will be over soon. But Maya wasn't sure it would be okay. She had seen the look in that man's eyes. He wasn't going to back down. He would rather fight the whole plane than admit he was wrong. And for what? A seat? A seat that wasn't even his. She didn't understand. She would never understand. 2 minutes later, heavy footsteps echoed through the cabin. Captain Russell Hargrove appeared in the aisle. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with salt and pepper hair, and a face that looked like it had seen 1,000 problems and solved every single one. His uniform was crisp, his shoulders squared, his presence commanding. Every passenger sat up straighter. What's going on here? He asked, his voice calm but authoritative. Kimberly spoke quickly. "Captain, this passenger is in seat 3A, but his boarding pass is for 8C. He refuses to move. This young lady's seat has been taken." The captain looked at the man, then down at Maya. His expression softened for just a moment when he saw her face the tear track she was trying to hide, the boarding pass clutched to her chest, the quiet dignity she was fighting to maintain. Then his expression hardened again as he turned to the man. "Sir, is this true?" The man rolled his eyes. "There's been some kind of mistake. I belong here. May I see your boarding pass?" The man handed it over with an exaggerated sigh. The captain looked at it for exactly 1 second. "This says 8C. You're in the wrong seat." "The system made an error." "The system doesn't make errors like this, sir. You need to move to your assigned seat, now." The man crossed his arms tighter. "And if I don't, then you'll be escorted off this aircraft." For a moment, nobody breathed. The man stared at the captain. The captain stared back. "You're kidding," the man said finally. "You're going to throw me off the plane because of some kid. I'm going to remove you from this plane because you're refusing to follow federal aviation regulations. Your seat is 8C. You're in 3A. That's not a suggestion, it's a legal requirement. Move or I call security." The man's face twisted with rage. "This is ridiculous. I've flown more miles than you've ever seen, Captain. I know people. I could have your job." "I doubt that very much, sir. Last chance. Move." The man didn't move. Maya watched the standoff with wide eyes. She had never seen anything like this. A grown man refusing to follow the rules, threatening the captain, all because he didn't want to give up a seat that wasn't his. She thought about what her father always told her. "Maya, some people in this world think they're above everyone else. They think money or power or the color of their skin gives them the right to take what they want. But they're wrong. Every person deserves respect. Every person has value. Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are." She had nodded when he said it, but she hadn't really understood. Now she understood. This man thought he was better than her. He thought his comfort was more important than her rights. He thought he could take what he wanted because she was small and young and different from him, but he was wrong. Maya let go of Gloria's hand. She took a step forward. "Sir?" she said, her voice clear and steady. "I know you don't want to move, and I know you think this seat should be yours, but it's not. My ticket says 3A, yours says 8C. That's just the truth, and the truth doesn't change just because you don't like it." The cabin went absolutely silent. The man stared at her, his mouth slightly open. "My daddy always says that character is what you do when nobody's watching. But everyone's watching right now, sir, and they can all see what kind of person you are." Someone in the back started clapping. Then someone else. Then half the cabin was applauding. The man's face turned a color Gloria had never seen before, something between purple and gray. "You little—" he started. "Don't," Captain Hargrove said sharply. "Don't you dare finish that sentence." The man's mouth snapped shut. "I'm calling security," the captain said, reaching for his radio. "This is over." "Wait," the man said suddenly. His voice had changed. Some of the arrogance had drained away. "Wait, you can't do this. I have connections. I'll sue this airline into the ground." "You can try," the captain said flatly. "Security to gate B14. Passenger refusing to comply." The man stood up suddenly, his bulk blocking the aisle. For a terrifying moment, Gloria thought he might do something violent. She pulled Maya behind her. But the man didn't attack anyone. He just stood there, breathing heavily, his face contorted with fury. "You're all going to regret this," he said, looking around the cabin at the passengers who had been recording, who had been watching, who had silently supported a little girl's right to sit in her own seat. "Every single one of you." "Sir, sit down," Captain Hargrove commanded. "I'm not sitting in that seat," the man snarled, pointing toward the back of the plane. "I paid for first-class treatment." "You paid for an economy ticket. Seat 8C is in economy. Now either walk to your seat on your own or security will help you off the plane. Those are your only options." The man's hands were shaking. Whether from rage or fear, Gloria couldn't tell. 2 security officers appeared at the front of the cabin. They were both tall, both broad-shouldered, both wearing expressions that said they had dealt with difficult passengers before and were not impressed by this one. "Sir," the first officer said, "you need to come with us." I'm not going anywhere. That wasn't a request. The man looked at the officers, then at the captain, then at the passengers recording him, then at Maya. His eyes locked onto hers. This is your fault, he hissed. You and your kind don't belong here. This is all your fault. Maya didn't look away. She didn't cry. She didn't flinch. No, sir, she said quietly. It's yours. The officers moved forward. Each one grabbed an arm. The man struggled, shouting obscenities that made several passengers cover their children's ears. This isn't over, he screamed as they hauled him toward the exit. I'll have all your jobs. You can't treat me like this. I have rights. So does she, Gloria said loudly, pointing at Maya. And you tried to take them away. The man's screams faded as security dragged him off the plane. The cabin erupted in applause. Maya stood in the aisle, her boarding pass still clutched in her hand, her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her ears. Gloria crouched down and hugged her tight. You did it, baby girl, she whispered. I'm so proud of you. I was scared, Maya admitted. I know, but you didn't let him see that. You stood up for yourself. That's what courage is, being scared and doing the right thing anyway. Captain Hargrove walked over to them. He crouched down so he was at Maya's eye level. Young lady, he said, I've been flying planes for 25 years, and that was one of the bravest things I've ever seen. Your parents must be very proud of you. Maya managed a small smile. Thank you, sir. Now, the captain said, standing up. I believe this is your seat. He gestured toward 3A, finally empty. Maya walked to the seat and sat down. She put her backpack at her feet, buckled her seatbelt, and looked out the window at the runway stretching into the distance. Gloria sat down beside her, in 3B, exhaling slowly. We did it, Gloria said. It's over. But it wasn't over. Kimberly appeared beside their row, her face tight with concern. Ma'am, she said quietly, I'm afraid there's a problem. Gloria's stomach dropped. What kind of problem? Because of the incident. We have to file an official report before we can depart. Ground security is requiring a full review. What does that mean? Kimberly hesitated. It means the flight is grounded. We don't know for how long. The words spread through the cabin like wildfire. Grounded, delayed, stuck. Passengers groaned. Someone cursed loudly. A baby started crying in the back. Are you serious? A man in row 5 shouted. We're stuck because of that idiot. I have a connection in Houston. A woman wailed. I can't miss it. This is ridiculous, someone else muttered. All because some guy couldn't follow the rules. Maya's face fell. She looked at Gloria with devastated eyes. Is this my fault? She whispered. Did I make everyone stuck? Gloria took her hand firmly. No, sweetheart, absolutely not. This is that man's fault. He chose to break the rules. He chose to fight. You did nothing wrong. But Maya could feel the frustration in the cabin. People were upset. And even though she knew it wasn't her fault, she couldn't help feeling responsible. She had just wanted to sit in her seat and look at the clouds. Now everyone was stuck. A man in a business suit turned around in his seat and looked directly at her. Worth it, he said. Maya blinked. What? I said worth it. That guy was a bully. He got what he deserved. Don't you feel bad for 1 second? A woman across the aisle nodded. He's right. You stood up for yourself. That takes guts. My granddaughter's about your age, an older man said from row 4. I hope she grows up to be as brave as you. More voices chimed in. Don't let anyone make you feel bad. You did the right thing. That man was a disgrace. Maya felt tears prick her eyes again, but this time they weren't tears of sadness or fear. They were tears of something else, something warm. She wasn't alone. These strangers, these people she had never met, were on her side. Thank you, she whispered. Gloria squeezed her hand. See, you've got more friends than you know. But even as the passengers rallied around Maya, even as the cabin filled with support instead of frustration, one thought kept nagging at Gloria's mind. The man had said he had connections. He had threatened to sue. He had promised this wasn't over. What if he was right? What if this was just the beginning? Gloria looked out the window at the tarmac where airport security vehicles were now gathered near the gate. Something bigger was happening here. She could feel it. And whatever came next, she knew one thing for certain: she would protect Maya with everything she had, no matter what. 20 minutes had passed since security dragged Howard Brennan off the plane, and the cabin felt like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Gloria checked her watch for the 10th time. She could feel the restlessness spreading through the rows like a virus. People were shifting in their seats, sighing loudly, checking their phones. The initial wave of support for Maya had started to fracture under the weight of delayed connections and missed meetings. Maya sat quietly in 3A, her forehead pressed against the window. She hadn't said a word in the last 5 minutes. Gloria knew that look. The little girl was thinking too hard, carrying a weight no 10-year-old should carry. "Sweetheart," Gloria said softly, "talk to me." Maya didn't turn from the window. "Why did he hate me, Gloria?" The question hit Gloria like a punch to the chest. "He doesn't know you, baby. He couldn't hate you." "Then why did he look at me like that? Like I was wrong?" Gloria reached over and took Maya's hand. "Because some people are broken inside. They see someone different from them, and instead of being curious, they get scared. And scared people do ugly things." Maya finally turned to look at her. Her eyes were red but dry. "I wasn't trying to be different. I was just trying to sit in my seat." "I know, sweetheart. And you did nothing wrong. Not one single thing." A man in row 5 suddenly stood up, his face twisted with frustration. "This is absolutely ridiculous," he announced loudly to no one in particular. "We've been sitting here for almost half an hour. I have a surgery scheduled in Phoenix tomorrow morning. My patient is counting on me." His wife tugged at his sleeve. "Richard, sit down." "No, I won't sit down. This is unacceptable." He turned toward Maya and Gloria, and his eyes narrowed. If that little girl had just found another seat, we'd be in the air by now. Gloria's spine went rigid. "Excuse me." "You heard me? Was it really worth all this one seat? We're all stuck here because a child couldn't be flexible." Gloria unbuckled her seatbelt and stood up. That child had every right to her seat. A grown man stole it from her. How is that her fault? "I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm saying there's a thing called picking your battles. Sometimes you just move on and avoid the drama." "So she should have given up her seat to a bully. That's the lesson you want to teach children." The man's face reddened. "I'm just saying, no." A woman's voice cut through the argument. She was sitting in row 3 across the aisle, maybe 45 years old, with short gray hair and sharp eyes. "You don't get to blame a child for an adult's bad behavior. That man was wrong, period. This delay is on him, not her." "She's right," another voice added. An elderly man in row 4 leaned forward. "I've been flying for 60 years. Never once seen a grown man throw a tantrum like that over a seat. The girl showed more maturity than he did." The surgeon's face went from red to purple. "I'm not defending that man. I'm just saying—" "You're saying she should have let him win," the gray-haired woman interrupted. "And that's exactly the kind of thinking that lets bullies keep bullying." More passengers were paying attention now. The cabin had split into 2 camps, those who blamed Maya for the delay and those who defended her. Gloria could feel the tension crackling in the air. Maya tugged on Gloria's arm. "Gloria, please sit down. I don't want more fighting." Gloria looked down at the little girl's face and felt her heart break a little. Maya wasn't angry. She wasn't scared. She was tired. Tired of being the center of attention. Tired of adults arguing about her like she wasn't even there. Gloria sat back down, but she kept her eyes on the surgeon. "This conversation is over." The surgeon opened his mouth to respond, but his wife pulled him back into his seat. "Richard, enough. You're embarrassing yourself." He sat down heavily, muttering under his breath. For a moment the cabin was quiet. Then a young man in row 6, the college kid in the gray hoodie, spoke up. "Hey, I just want everyone to know I got the whole thing on video. That guy harassing the little girl, security dragging him out, everything. It's already got 2,000 views on Twitter." Gloria's stomach dropped. "You posted it online." Yeah, like 20 minutes ago. It's blowing up. People are losing their minds over this guy. A woman behind him leaned forward. What's the video called? The young man grinned. I titled it, Racist Bully Gets Kicked Off Plane After Stealing Child's Seat. Pretty catchy, right? Gloria felt the blood drain from her face. This was exactly what she had been afraid of. The situation was spiraling out of control. What had happened on this plane was no longer just between them and that horrible man. It was public now. The whole world was watching. Maya looked up at Gloria with confusion. What does that mean? People are watching. Gloria forced a smile. It means people know what happened, sweetheart. Is that bad? Gloria didn't know how to answer. The gray-haired woman across the aisle leaned toward them. Honey, it's not bad. It means people saw what that man did to you, and they're on your side. Maya considered this. But I don't know those people. No, you don't. But sometimes strangers can be the best friends you never knew you had. A flight attendant. Derek, the young man who had helped earlier, walked quickly down the aisle. His face was tight with concern. He crouched beside Gloria's seat and spoke in a low voice. Ma'am, I need to inform you that we've received several calls from media outlets. They're asking about the incident. The video is, well, it's everywhere now. Gloria's heart sank further. How bad is it? It has over 50,000 views, and climbing. 50,000 in less than 30 minutes. The airlines PR team wants to speak with you before we depart, Derek continued. They're sending someone to the gate. Gloria shook her head. We don't want to talk to anyone. We just want to go to Phoenix. I understand, ma'am. But I think you should know reporters are already gathering outside the terminal. Maya's eyes went wide. Reporters like on TV. Derek gave her a gentle smile. Don't worry, sweetheart. No one's going to bother you. We'll make sure of that. But Gloria wasn't so sure. This had become something much bigger than a dispute over a seat. This was a story about race, about privilege, about a little girl who stood up to a bully. The media would eat it alive, and Maya would be at the center of it all. Gloria, Maya whispered, I'm scared. Gloria pulled her close. I know, baby, I know, but we're going to get through this together. I promise. 45 minutes since the incident began. The cabin had settled into an uneasy quiet. Most passengers were on their phones scrolling through social media, watching the video that had now reached over 100,000 views. Gloria could hear snippets of the audio playing from different seats, the man's voice harsh and cruel, followed by Maya's small, steady reply. Every time she heard it, Gloria's stomach churned. A woman in first-class middle-aged, wearing expensive jewelry and a designer dress suddenly gasped loudly. Oh my God, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. I just realized who that little girl is. Gloria's blood ran cold. The woman turned around in her seat, her eyes wide. That's Maya Richardson. Her father is Darnell Richardson, the billionaire. The cabin went silent, then erupted. Wait, what? Richardson, Technologies that Darnell Richardson, the guy who donated $100 million to Houston Children's Hospital. Holy crap, that man tried to kick a billionaire's daughter out of her seat. Gloria closed her eyes. This was exactly what she had been dreading. Maya's identity was supposed to be private. Darnell had always been careful about keeping his daughter out of the spotlight. He wanted her to have a normal childhood, as normal as possible for a billionaire's kid. And now everyone knew. Maya shrank back in her seat. Gloria, I didn't want them to know. I know, sweetheart. I know. The surgeon from row 5. The same one who had blamed Maya for the delay turned around with a completely different expression on his face. Wait, she's Darnell Richardson's daughter. The Darnell Richardson. Gloria didn't answer. The surgeon's wife elbowed him hard. Richard doesn't matter whose daughter she is. She was right either way. I know. I'm just saying. You're just saying you feel like an idiot for blaming a child, as you should. The surgeon's face went red again, but this time with shame instead of anger. He turned back around without another word. The gray-haired woman across the aisle shook her head slowly. Doesn't matter if her daddy's a billionaire or a bus driver. That man was wrong. Simple as that. Exactly, the elderly man in row 4 agreed. Money doesn't give you rights, and it doesn't take them away either. Maya looked up at Gloria with tears in her eyes. I don't want to be the billionaire's daughter right now. I just want to be Maya. Gloria stroked her hair gently. You are Maya. That's all you've ever been, and that's all that matters. But even as she said the words, Gloria knew things had changed. The video was viral. Maya's identity was public. There was no going back to normal after this. Her phone buzzed. Gloria looked at the screen and felt her heart stop. It was Darnell Richardson. 1 hour and 5 minutes. Gloria stepped into the galley at the front of the cabin, her phone pressed to her ear. Her hands were shaking. Mr. Richardson, I am so sorry. Gloria, stop. Darnell's voice was calm but firm. Tell me exactly what happened. From the beginning. Gloria took a deep breath and told him everything. The man in Maya's seat, his refusal to move, the things he said, the way he looked at her, security dragging him off the plane, the video going viral, the delay. When she finished, there was silence on the other end. Then Darnell spoke, and his voice was different, colder, harder. He said she didn't belong there. Yes, sir. He said that to my daughter's face. Yes, sir, and worse. Another long pause. Gloria, listen to me carefully. I need you to do exactly what I say. Of course, Mr. Richardson, anything. Don't talk to any reporters. Don't let Maya talk to anyone. When the plane lands, there will be a car waiting for you. My security team is already on the way to Phoenix. Gloria's eyebrows rose. Security team? This is going to get bigger before it gets smaller. That video has over 500,000 views now. By tonight, it'll be on every news station in the country. I need to protect my daughter. Gloria glanced toward the cabin where Maya was still sitting in 3A looking out the window. So small, so young, so unaware of the storm that was gathering around her. Mr. Richardson, she's scared. She didn't want any of this. I know. Darnell's voice softened. I know. Tell her I'm proud of her. Tell her she did exactly what I taught her to do. She stood up for herself. She stood up for what was right. And I will never let anyone hurt her for that. Gloria felt tears prick her eyes. I'll tell her, sir. And Gloria, yes. That man who took her seat, what's his name? Gloria hesitated. Howard Brennan. At least that's what his boarding pass said. Howard Brennan. Darnell repeated the name slowly like he was memorizing it. He's going to regret the day he ever looked at my daughter. The call ended. Gloria stood in the galley for a moment, trying to steady her breathing. She had worked for the Richardson family for 4 years. She had seen Darnell angry before, when a business deal fell through, when a competitor tried to poach his employees, when a tabloid published lies about his family. But she had never heard him sound like that. Cold, controlled, dangerous. Howard Brennan had no idea what he had started. 1 hour and 20 minutes. Gloria had just returned to her seat when Derek appeared again, his face even more troubled than before. Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you again, but there's been a development. Gloria sighed. What now? Mr. Brennan, the man who was removed, he's been taken into custody by airport police. Maya looked up. Custody like arrested. Derek nodded. Yes, sweetheart. He's being charged with disorderly conduct, interfering with a flight crew, and possibly more. The FBI is involved now, too. Gloria's eyes widened. The FBI? Interfering with a flight crew is a federal offense, ma'am, and given the nature of his comments, they're investigating whether hate crime charges might apply. The cabin buzzed with reactions. Hate crime charges seriously. He deserves it. That's what he gets. Finally, some justice. Maya tugged on Gloria's sleeve. Gloria, what does that mean? Is the man going to jail? Gloria chose her words carefully. It means he's in a lot of trouble, sweetheart. What he did was against the law, and now he has to face the consequences. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised Gloria. I don't want him to go to jail. Gloria blinked. What? I mean, I know what he did was wrong. And I know he was mean to me. But I don't want to be the reason someone goes to jail. That feels heavy. The gray-haired woman across the aisle had tears in her eyes. Sweetheart, you're not the reason. He's the reason. He made his choices. You just stood up for yourself. I know, Maya said softly, but it still feels heavy. Gloria hugged her tight. This child, this remarkable, compassionate, wise beyond her years child, even after everything that man had done to her, she still found room for mercy. Darnell had raised her right. 1 hour and 35 minutes. The door to the jet bridge opened, and a woman in a sharp business suit entered the cabin. She had blonde hair pulled back in a tight ponytail and carried a leather folder under her arm. Her heels clicked against the floor as she walked toward first class. Miss Thompson, she said, stopping beside Gloria's row. Gloria nodded warily. That's me. I'm Patricia Holloway, head of customer relations for the airline. May I have a moment of your time? Gloria glanced at Maya, who was watching with wide eyes. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of her. Patricia hesitated, then nodded. She crouched down in the aisle so she was at eye level with both of them. First, I want to apologize on behalf of the entire airline. What happened today should never have happened. That man's behavior was inexcusable, and our crew's initial response was inadequate. Gloria said nothing. She wanted to hear what came next. We'd like to offer you both a full refund for your tickets, complimentary first-class tickets for any future flights, and... Patricia paused. We'd like to offer your family a private settlement to compensate for the distress you've experienced. Gloria's eyes narrowed. A settlement. Yes, ma'am. A significant one. In exchange, we would ask that you sign a non-disclosure agreement and refrain from speaking publicly about the incident. The cabin had gone deathly quiet. Everyone was listening. Gloria felt anger rising in her chest. Let me make sure I understand. You want us to take money and keep quiet. Patricia's smile faltered. We're simply trying to make this right. Make it right. Gloria's voice rose. A man harassed a 10-year-old girl on your plane. Your crew let it happen for 20 minutes before calling the captain. And now you want to pay us to pretend it didn't happen. Patricia's face went pale. Ms. Thompson, I assure you, no. Gloria stood up, and Patricia scrambled to her feet. We don't want your money. We don't want your free tickets. We want you to do better. Train your crew to handle situations like this. Protect your passengers, especially the ones who can't protect themselves. Maya stood up beside Gloria. Her small voice was clear and steady. I don't want money either. I just want you to make sure this doesn't happen to another kid. Patricia stared at them both, clearly not expecting this response. The cabin erupted in applause. The elderly man in row 4 was clapping the hardest. That's integrity right there. You don't see that every day. The gray-haired woman wiped tears from her eyes. God bless you both. Even the surgeon from row 5 was clapping, though he couldn't quite meet Gloria's eyes. Patricia Holloway stood frozen, her leather folder clutched to her chest like a shield. I'll convey your response to our leadership, she managed. You do that, Gloria said, and tell them the whole world is watching. They'd better get it right. Patricia nodded stiffly and hurried off the plane. Gloria sat back down, her heart pounding. Maya slipped her hand into Gloria's. Did I do okay? Maya whispered. Gloria squeezed her hand. You did more than okay, sweetheart. You did perfect. 1 hour and 50 minutes. Derek returned with news that sent a chill down Gloria's spine. Ma'am, I thought you should know Howard Brennan's lawyer has contacted the airline. He's threatening to sue. Gloria felt the blood drain from her face. Sue for what? False arrest, defamation, emotional distress. His lawyer claims Mr. Brennan was publicly humiliated and wrongfully removed from the flight. The college kid in row 6 burst out laughing. Are you kidding me? That guy's got some nerve. It's not funny, his seatmate said. These kinds of lawsuits can get ugly. Gloria's mind was racing. She thought about Darnell's voice on the phone, the cold fury, the promise that Howard Brennan would regret what he'd done. But lawsuits worked both ways. What if Brennan's lawyers tried to drag Maya into this? What if they subpoenaed her, made her testify? The thought made Gloria sick. Maya looked up at her. "Gloria, what's wrong? You look scared." Gloria forced a smile. "Nothing, sweetheart. Everything's fine." But it wasn't fine. Nothing about this was fine. The gray-haired woman across the aisle, Gloria had learned her name was Margaret, leaned over. "Don't worry about that lawsuit. I'm a retired attorney. I saw everything that happened. That man doesn't have a leg to stand on." "You're a lawyer," Gloria said. 35 years. Employment discrimination, civil rights. I've seen cases like this before. The video alone destroys any claim he might make." The college kid raised his hand. "I'll testify. I got the whole thing recorded." "Me too," the elderly man in row 4 said. "I saw everything." "Count me in," someone else called from row 7. "Same here." "And me." One by one, passengers throughout the cabin volunteered to be witnesses. People who had been strangers an hour ago were now united in a common cause. Gloria felt tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, all of you. Thank you." Margaret reached across the aisle and patted her hand. "That little girl stood up for herself when no one else would. The least we can do is stand up for her now." Maya was crying too, but she was smiling. "See, sweetheart," Gloria whispered. "Sometimes strangers really are the best friends you never knew you had." 2 hours and 5 minutes. Captain Hargrove's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the extended delay. I've just received word from ground control that we've been cleared for departure. Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff." A cheer went up through the cabin. "Finally. About time. Let's get out of here." Gloria sagged with relief. It was over. They were finally leaving. But then Kimberly appeared beside their row, her face troubled. "Ms. Thompson, before we take off, I need to inform you of something." Gloria's relief evaporated. "What is it?" "There are news crews waiting at the Phoenix airport, a lot of them. The airline has arranged for a private exit through a secure area, but—" She hesitated. "It's going to be difficult to avoid them entirely." Gloria looked at Maya. The little girl's face had gone pale. "I don't want to be on TV," Maya whispered. "I know, sweetheart. I know." Captain Hargrove appeared in the aisle. He crouched down beside Maya's seat. "Young lady, I want you to know something. When we land in Phoenix, I'm going to personally escort you off this plane. No one is going to bother you. Not reporters, not cameras, no one. You have my word." Maya looked at him with those big, serious eyes. "Promise?" "I promise." She nodded slowly. "Okay." The captain stood up and addressed Gloria. "Ma'am, your employer has arranged for private security to meet you at the gate. They'll handle everything." Gloria nodded. "Thank you, Captain, for everything." He gave her a small smile. "That little girl taught me something today. She reminded me why rules matter, why standing up for what's right matters." He looked at Maya. "Don't ever change, young lady. The world needs more people like you." Maya managed a small smile. "Thank you, sir." The captain returned to the cockpit. The engines roared to life. The plane began to move. Gloria held Maya's hand as the aircraft taxied toward the runway. Outside the window, the Texas sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "Gloria," Maya said quietly. "Yes, sweetheart. Do you think that man will ever understand what he did wrong?" Gloria thought about it. She thought about Howard Brennan's face twisted with rage, his words dripping with contempt, the way he had looked at Maya like she was less than nothing. "I don't know, sweetheart. Some people spend their whole lives refusing to see their own mistakes." Maya nodded slowly. "That's sad." "It is. But I'm not going to let him make me sad. Daddy says you can't control what other people do, only what you do, and I did the right thing, so I'm going to be okay." Gloria felt her heart swell with pride. This child, this incredible, remarkable child. "Yes, baby girl, you're going to be more than okay." The plane lifted off the ground. Through the window, Maya watched as Dallas grew smaller and smaller beneath them. The airport, the city, the man who had tried to steal her seat and her dignity, all of it shrinking into the distance. She pressed her hand against the glass. "Goodbye," she whispered. Gloria wasn't sure if she was saying goodbye to Texas or to the scared little girl she had been 2 hours ago. Maybe both. 2 hours and 20 minutes. The plane reached cruising altitude and the seatbelt sign dinged off. Passengers began to move around, stretching their legs, visiting the restroom, checking on each other. Something had changed in the cabin. The strangers who had boarded this flight hours ago were no longer strangers. They had witnessed something together. They had taken sides, argued, and ultimately come together in support of a little girl who had refused to back down. The college kid from row 6 walked up to Maya's seat. He was holding his phone. "Hey, little dude, I wanted to show you something." Maya looked up at him. "What is it?" He turned the phone so she could see the screen. "Your video has over 2 million views now, and look at the comments." Gloria leaned over to see. The screen was filled with messages. "This little girl is my hero. Faith in humanity restored. That man got exactly what he deserved. Someone give this child an award. Her parents must be so proud. This is what courage looks like." Maya's eyes went wide. 2 million people watched, and counting. You're famous, kid. Maya looked at Gloria with an expression that was half wonder and half terror. "I don't want to be famous. I just wanted to go to Phoenix." The college kid laughed. "Well, you're going to Phoenix, but you're also going to be famous. Might as well get used to it." Gloria put her arm around Maya. "Don't worry, sweetheart. This will all die down eventually. People have short memories." But even as she said it, Gloria wasn't sure she believed it. Margaret, the retired attorney, had been listening. She leaned across the aisle. "Actually, I think this might be bigger than you realize. Cases like this, they become symbols. That video isn't just about a man stealing a seat. It's about something much larger. And people are hungry for stories like this, stories where the little guy wins." "The little girl," Maya corrected. Margaret smiled. "The little girl. Even better." 2 hours and 40 minutes. Gloria's phone buzzed again. Another message from Darnell. "Just saw the video. Over 3 million views now. Maya is trending on Twitter. I've contacted my media team. We'll handle the press when you land. Just keep her safe until then." Gloria typed back, "She's being so brave. You should be proud." The response came immediately. "I've never been prouder of anything in my life." Gloria showed the message to Maya. Maya read it, and her eyes filled with tears. "Daddy's proud of me." "So proud, sweetheart. He told me to tell you that you did exactly what he taught you to do." Maya wiped her eyes and nodded firmly. "Good, because I was really scared, Gloria. The whole time I was really, really scared." "I know, baby, but you didn't let the fear stop you. That's what bravery is. Daddy says the same thing. Your daddy's a smart man." Maya smiled a real smile, the first one Gloria had seen since this whole nightmare began. "Yeah," Maya said softly, "he really is." 2 hours and 55 minutes. The pilot's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our descent into Phoenix. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. We should be on the ground in approximately 20 minutes. Gloria felt her stomach tighten. 20 minutes. Then the real challenge would begin. Maya seemed to sense her anxiety. "Gloria, are you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just thinking about what happens when we land. The reporters." "Yes." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Can I tell you something? Anything. I don't want to hide from the cameras. I don't want to sneak out the back." Gloria frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean, if people want to talk to me about what happened, maybe I should talk to them. Maybe I should tell them that what that man did was wrong. Maybe other kids need to hear that they should stand up for themselves too." Gloria stared at her. "Maya, you're 10 years old. You don't have to be a spokesperson for anything." "I know I don't have to, but maybe I want to." Gloria didn't know what to say. This child kept surprising her over and over again. "We'll talk to your father about it," Gloria finally said. "Whatever happens, it should be his decision." Maya nodded. Okay, but I hope he says yes. Gloria hoped so too, because as much as she wanted to protect Maya from the spotlight, she was beginning to realize that Maya didn't need protection. She needed a platform. 3 hours and 10 minutes. The plane touched down in Phoenix. Gloria watched through the window as the aircraft taxied toward the gate. She could already see them, news vans lined up in the distance, satellite dishes pointing toward the sky, reporters with microphones gathered near the terminal. They were waiting for Maya. The cabin was buzzing with nervous energy. Passengers were craning their necks to see out the windows, whispering to each other, pointing at the media circus outside. Look at all those cameras. This is crazy. That little girl is going to be on every news station tonight. Maya sat very still in her seat, her hands folded in her lap. Gloria, she whispered. Yes, sweetheart. I changed my mind. I'm scared again. Gloria took her hand and held it tight. That's okay. It's okay to be scared. Remember what we talked about. Bravery isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. But what's the right thing now? Gloria thought about it. The right thing is whatever feels true to you. If you want to talk to the reporters, we'll talk to them. If you want to sneak out the back, we'll sneak out the back. It's your choice, Maya, no one else's. Maya looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. I want to walk out the front, like everyone else. I don't want to hide. Gloria felt tears threatening again. Then that's what we'll do. The plane came to a stop. The seatbelt sign dinged off. Captain Hargrove's voice came over the intercom one last time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phoenix. Before we deplane, I want to say something. Today, I witnessed one of the most remarkable displays of courage I've ever seen. A young passenger on this flight stood up for herself against a bully. She didn't yell, she didn't cry. She simply held her ground and spoke the truth. I think we could all learn something from her example. He paused. To that young passenger, you know who you are. I want to say thank you. Thank you for reminding us what integrity looks like. Thank you for showing us that doing the right thing is always worth it, even when it's hard. You made me proud to be your captain today. The cabin erupted in applause. Maya's face turned bright red. Gloria hugged her close. That's for you, sweetheart. All of it. The applause continued as passengers stood up, gathered their belongings, and began to file toward the exit. But something unusual happened. Instead of pushing toward the front, people stopped at Maya's row. They wanted to say something. You were amazing today, sweetheart. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you don't belong. Your parents raised you right. You're going to do great things someday. One by one, strangers offered words of encouragement to a 10-year-old girl they had met only a few hours ago. Men and women, young and old, all of them touched by what they had witnessed. Margaret, the retired attorney, was one of the last to pass by. She pressed a business card into Gloria's hand. If you need legal help, anything at all, you call me. Pro bono. It would be my honor. Gloria looked at the card, then at Margaret. Thank you. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just take care of that little girl. She's special. I know, Gloria said softly. Believe me, I know. When the cabin had emptied, Captain Hargrove appeared at their row. He was holding his captain's wings, the golden pin that adorned his uniform. He crouched down beside Maya. I'd like you to have these. Maya's eyes went wide. Your wings. I've been flying planes for 25 years. I've got plenty of wings, but I've never met anyone who deserved them more than you. He pinned the wings to Maya's lavender hoodie right next to the word genius. Maya touched them gently, her fingers tracing the golden outline. Thank you, Captain. No, Maya, thank you. He stood up and extended his hand to Gloria. Ready. Gloria took a deep breath. Ready. They walked toward the exit together, Gloria, Maya, and the captain, who had promised to protect them. The jet bridge stretched before them like a tunnel into the unknown. At the end of it, Gloria could hear voices, cameras, questions. The world was waiting. Maya squared her small shoulders and lifted her chin. She was still scared. Gloria could feel her hand trembling, but she was walking forward anyway. And that was all that mattered. Gloria couldn't shake the feeling in her gut. 23 minutes had passed since security dragged Howard Brennan off the plane, and the cabin had grown restless. She watched Maya stare out the window, her small fingers tracing patterns on the glass, and wondered what was going through that brilliant mind. "Gloria," Maya's voice was barely above a whisper. "Yes, sweetheart. Why do people hate other people they don't even know?" The question hit Gloria like a physical blow. She reached over and took Maya's hand. "I don't have a good answer for that, baby. I wish I did." Maya turned to look at her. "He didn't know me. He didn't know my name or where I go to school or that I like math. He just looked at me and decided I didn't belong." Gloria felt tears threatening. Some people are broken inside, Maya. They look at the world, and instead of seeing all the beautiful differences, they see things to be scared of. And scared people do ugly things. But I wasn't trying to scare him. I was just trying to sit in my seat. "I know, sweetheart. And that's what makes you so much better than him. You weren't trying to prove anything. You were just being yourself." A man in row 5 suddenly stood up, his face red with frustration. His expensive watch glinted as he threw his hands in the air. "This is absolutely unacceptable. I have a surgery scheduled in Phoenix tomorrow morning. A child's life depends on me being there." His wife pulled at his sleeve. "Richard, sit down. You're making a scene." "I don't care about making a scene, Barbara. We've been sitting here for almost half an hour because of some ridiculous argument over a seat." Gloria's spine went rigid. She knew where this was going. The surgeon turned toward their row, and his eyes landed on Maya. If that little girl had just found another seat, we'd be in the air by now. Was it really worth all this? Gloria was on her feet before she could think. "Excuse me, are you blaming a child for what that man did?" "I'm saying there's such a thing as picking your battles. Sometimes you just move on and avoid the drama. She should have given up her rightful seat to a bully. That's your solution." The surgeon's face darkened. "I'm a doctor. I deal with life and death every day. Forgive me if I don't have patience for childish squabbles." A voice cut through the tension like a knife. "That's enough." Everyone turned. A woman in row 3 across the aisle had stood up. She was maybe 60 years old with short silver hair and sharp eyes that looked like they had seen everything the world had to offer. Her voice carried the authority of someone who was used to being listened to. "I'm Margaret Chen, retired federal judge, 32 years on the bench. And I'm telling you right now, that little girl did nothing wrong. The law was on her side. Morality was on her side. You want to blame someone for this delay? Blame the grown man who threw a tantrum because he couldn't steal from a child." The surgeon's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Margaret wasn't finished. "I've seen a lot of cases in my career, men who thought the rules didn't apply to them, men who thought they could take whatever they wanted because of who they were or what they looked like. That man today, he's going to face consequences, real consequences. And this little girl," she pointed at Maya, "she's going to be just fine because she has something he doesn't have: integrity." The cabin erupted in applause. The surgeon sat down without another word, his face the color of a tomato. Gloria mouthed thank you to Margaret, who nodded back with a small smile. Maya tugged on Gloria's sleeve. "Who is that lady?" "Someone very important, sweetheart. Someone who knows right from wrong." 31 minutes after the incident. Derek appeared at their row, his young face creased with concern. He crouched down so he was at eye level with Gloria. "Ma'am, I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay calm." Gloria's heart dropped. "What is it?" "The video of what happened today has gone viral. It's everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, the news. It already has over 200,000 views." Gloria felt the blood drain from her face. 200,000 and climbing fast. "Someone on the plane posted it while security was removing Mr. Brennan. It shows everything. His comments, Maya standing up to him, all of it." Maya looked up with confusion. "What does viral mean?" Derek gave her a gentle smile. "It means a lot of people are watching, sweetheart, and they're all on your side." Gloria's mind was racing. Darnell Richardson was one of the most private billionaires in America. He had spent years keeping Maya out of the spotlight, protecting her from the attention that came with his wealth and status. And now, in a matter of minutes, she had become the most famous 10-year-old in the country. "Does anyone know who she is?" Gloria asked, her voice barely steady. Derek hesitated. "Not yet, but it's probably only a matter of time." Gloria closed her eyes. This was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. "Gloria?" Maya's small voice broke through her panic. "Are people really watching?" "Yes, baby, a lot of people." "Do they know what he said to me?" "They do." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made Gloria's heart break and swell with pride at the same time. "Good. Then maybe other kids will know they don't have to be scared. They can stand up too." 44 minutes. Gloria's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and felt her stomach flip. Darnell Richardson was calling. She answered immediately, stepping into the aisle and lowering her voice. "Mr. Richardson, I am so sorry. Everything happened so fast." "Gloria, stop." His voice was calm, but tight like a coiled spring. "I've seen the video. The whole world has seen the video. Tell me what happened. Everything." Gloria told him. Every detail. The man in Maya's seat, his refusal to move, the horrible things he said, the way he looked at her, security dragging him away, the flight being grounded. When she finished, there was silence on the other end. Then Darnell spoke, and his voice had changed. It was colder, harder. The voice of a man who had built an empire from nothing and destroyed anyone who tried to take it from him. "He said she didn't belong there." "Yes, sir." "He said that to my daughter's face." "Yes, sir, and worse, the things he implied." "I know what he implied. I've been dealing with people like him my entire life." A pause. "What's his name?" "Howard Brennan." That's what his boarding pass said. Howard Brennan. Darnell repeated the name slowly, deliberately. "That man is going to learn the cost of putting his hands on my daughter's dignity." Gloria shivered. She had worked for the Richardson family for 4 years. She had seen Darnell angry before, but she had never heard him sound like this. "How is she?" Darnell asked, his voice softening slightly. "How is my baby girl?" Gloria glanced back at Maya, who was watching her with anxious eyes. "She's incredible, Mr. Richardson. She was so brave. She didn't cry, didn't scream. She just stood there and told him he was wrong. Everyone on this plane is in awe of her." "That's my girl." Pride broke through the anger in his voice. "Tell her I love her. Tell her I've never been more proud of anything in my entire life." "I will, sir." "And Gloria, when you land in Phoenix, there will be people waiting. My security team, lawyers, maybe press. Don't talk to anyone. Just get Maya to the car. I'm flying out tonight. I'll be there by morning." "Yes, sir." "One more thing." "Sir, thank you for protecting her, for standing beside her. That means more to me than you'll ever know." The line went dead. Gloria stood in the aisle for a moment, trying to steady her breathing. When she returned to her seat, Maya was watching her with those big, serious eyes. "Was that Daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart." "Is he mad?" Gloria smiled and took her hand. "Not at you, never at you. He told me to tell you that he loves you, and that he's never been more proud of anything in his entire life." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Really? Really? You're his hero today, Maya. You're everyone's hero." 52 minutes. The cabin had settled into an uneasy quiet when a woman in first class suddenly gasped loudly. "Oh my God!" she said, her perfectly manicured hand flying to her mouth. "I just realized who that little girl is." Gloria's blood went cold. The woman turned around in her seat, her designer jewelry glittering. "That's Maya Richardson. Her father is Darnell Richardson, the billionaire who owns Richardson Technologies." The cabin exploded. "Wait, what?" "The Darnell Richardson, the one who donated $100 million to Houston Children's Hospital. The guy who was on the cover of Forbes last month. Oh my God, that man tried to kick a billionaire's daughter out of her seat." Gloria closed her eyes. This was exactly what she had been dreading. Maya's identity was supposed to be protected, private. And now every person on this plane knew exactly who she was. Maya shrank in her seat. "Gloria, I didn't want them to know." "I know, sweetheart. I know." The surgeon from row 5 turned around, his expression completely different from before. "Wait, she's Darnell Richardson's daughter. The Darnell Richardson." His wife elbowed him sharply. "Does it matter whose daughter she is, Richard? She was right either way." I know, I'm just saying." "You're just saying you feel like an idiot for blaming a billionaire's child for the delay." The surgeon's face flushed with shame. He turned back around without another word. Margaret Chen shook her head slowly. "Doesn't matter if her father is a billionaire or a bus driver. That man was wrong. Justice doesn't care about your bank account." "Exactly," an elderly man in row 4 agreed. "Money doesn't give you rights, and it doesn't take them away." Maya looked up at Gloria, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I don't want to be the billionaire's daughter right now. I just want to be Maya." Gloria pulled her close and held her tight. "You are Maya. That's all you've ever been. That's all that matters." But even as she said the words, Gloria knew the truth. Things had changed forever. The video was viral. Maya's identity was public. There was no going back to normal after this. 1 hour and 3 minutes. Derek appeared again, his face pale with news. "Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you, but there's been a development. Mr. Brennan has been taken into custody by airport police." Maya looked up sharply. "Custody like arrested?" Derek nodded. "Yes, sweetheart. He's being charged with disorderly conduct interference with a flight crew and possibly more." "More?" Gloria asked. "The FBI is involved now. Interfering with a flight crew is a federal offense. And given the nature of his comments, they're investigating whether hate crime charges might apply." The cabin buzzed with reactions. "Hate crime charges. He deserves worse. About time something happened. That's what happens when you mess with the wrong kid." Maya tugged on Gloria's arm. "Gloria, what does all that mean? Is the man going to jail?" Gloria chose her words carefully. "It means he's in very serious trouble, sweetheart. What he did was against the law. And now he has to face the consequences." Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that stopped Gloria's heart. "I don't want him to go to jail." Gloria stared at her. "What? I mean, I know what he did was wrong. He was so mean to me. But I don't want to be the reason someone goes to jail. That feels heavy." Margaret Chen had tears in her eyes. "Sweetheart, you're not the reason. He is. He made his choices. You just stood up for yourself." "I know," Maya said softly, "but it still feels heavy." Gloria hugged her so tight she thought she might break. This child. This remarkable, compassionate, wise beyond her years child. Even after everything that man had done, she still found room for mercy. Darnell had raised her right. 1 hour and 17 minutes. The door to the jet bridge opened, and a woman in a sharp navy suit entered the cabin. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a severe ponytail, and she carried a leather portfolio under her arm. Her heels clicked with authority as she walked toward first class. "Ms. Thompson," she said, stopping beside Gloria's row. Gloria nodded warily. "That's me." "I'm Patricia Holloway, Senior Vice President of Customer Relations for the airline. May I have a moment of your time?" Gloria glanced at Maya. "Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of her." Patricia hesitated, then forced a smile. "Of course." She crouched down in the aisle. "First, I want to apologize on behalf of the entire airline. What happened today should never have happened. That man's behavior was inexcusable, and our crew's initial response was inadequate. We should have intervened sooner." Gloria said nothing. She wanted to hear what came next. "We'd like to offer you both a full refund for your tickets, complimentary first-class travel for life, and—" Patricia paused. "We'd like to offer your family a private settlement, a substantial one, to compensate for the distress you've experienced." Gloria's eyes narrowed. "A settlement?" "Yes, ma'am. In exchange, we would simply ask that you sign a non-disclosure agreement and refrain from speaking publicly about the incident." The cabin had gone deathly quiet. Everyone was listening. Gloria felt anger rising in her chest like a wave. "Let me make sure I understand. You want us to take your money and keep quiet about what happened?" Patricia's smile faltered. "We're simply trying to make this right. Make it right." Gloria's voice rose. "A grown man harassed a 10-year-old girl on your plane. Your crew watched it happen for 20 minutes before calling the captain. Security had to drag him off in handcuffs, and your solution is to pay us to pretend it never happened." Patricia's face went pale. "Miss Thompson, I assure you—" "No." Gloria stood up, forcing Patricia to scramble to her feet. "We don't want your money. We don't want your free flights. We want you to do better. Train your crew to handle situations like this. Protect your passengers, especially the ones who can't protect themselves. Actually care about doing the right thing instead of just covering your assets." Maya stood up beside Gloria. Her small voice was clear and steady. "I don't want money either, ma'am. I just want you to make sure this doesn't happen to another kid. Can you promise me that—" Patricia stared at them both, clearly unprepared for this response. The cabin erupted in applause. The elderly man in row 4 was clapping hardest. "That's integrity right there. You don't see that every day." Margaret Chen was openly crying. "God bless you both." Even the surgeon from row 5 was clapping, though he still couldn't quite meet Gloria's eyes. Patricia Holloway stood frozen, her leather portfolio clutched to her chest like armor. "I'll convey your response to our leadership," she managed. "You do that," Gloria said, "and tell them the whole world is watching now. They'd better get it right." Patricia nodded stiffly and retreated toward the jet bridge. Gloria sat back down, her heart pounding. Maya slipped her small hand into hers. "Did I do okay?" Maya whispered. Gloria squeezed her fingers. "You did more than okay, sweetheart. You did perfect." 1 hour and 29 minutes. The college kid from row 6, he had introduced himself as Tyler, walked up to Maya's seat, his phone in hand. "Hey, little warrior, I wanted to show you something." Maya looked up at him curiously. "What?" He turned the phone so she could see the screen. "Your video hit 3 million views. And look at the comments." Gloria leaned over to look. The screen was flooded with messages. "This little girl is braver than most adults I know. Faith in humanity restored. That man got exactly what he deserved. Her parents must be incredible. This is what courage looks like. Someone give this child a medal. I'm literally crying at work right now." Maya's eyes went wide. 3 million people watched. "And it's still climbing. You're trending worldwide, kid. #Justice for Maya is the #1 topic on Twitter right now." Maya looked at Gloria with an expression that was half wonder and half terror. "I don't want to be trending. I just wanted to go to Phoenix and see my grandma." Tyler laughed gently. "Well, you're definitely going to Phoenix. But yeah, you're also kind of famous now. For being awesome, though. That's the best kind of famous." Gloria put her arm around Maya. "Don't worry, sweetheart. This will all die down eventually." But Margaret Chen had been listening. She leaned across the aisle, her judicial instincts clearly engaged. "Actually, I think this is bigger than you realize. Cases like this become symbols. That video isn't just about a man stealing a seat. It's about privilege. It's about racism. It's about a child standing up when adults stayed silent. People are hungry for stories where the little guy wins." "The little girl," Maya corrected softly. Margaret smiled. "Even better." 1 hour and 41 minutes. Derek rushed over his face, tight with urgency. "Ma'am, we have a situation. Howard Brennan's lawyer just contacted the airline. He's threatening to sue." Gloria felt her stomach drop. "Sue? For what?" "False arrest, defamation, emotional distress. His lawyer claims Mr. Brennan was publicly humiliated and wrongfully removed from the flight." Tyler burst out laughing. "You're kidding me. That guy's actually going to try to play the victim." "It's not funny," an older woman behind him said. "These lawsuits can get ugly. They can drag on for years." Gloria's mind was racing. She thought about Darnell's voice on the phone. the cold fury, the promise that Howard Brennan would regret what he'd done. But lawsuits worked both ways. What if Brennan's lawyers tried to drag Maya into this? What if they subpoenaed her, made her testify? The thought made Gloria physically sick. Maya looked up at her with worried eyes. "Gloria, what's wrong? You look scared." Gloria forced a smile. "Nothing, sweetheart. Everything's going to be fine." But Margaret Chen had overheard. She leaned forward, her expression serious. "That lawsuit is going nowhere. I've seen the video. Everyone has seen the video. Howard Brennan was clearly in the wrong seat. He was clearly verbally abusive. He was clearly physically resistant to lawful orders from the crew. Any judge in America would throw his case out in 5 minutes. But what if they don't?" Gloria asked. "Then I'll testify." Margaret's voice was firm. "I saw everything. I'll swear under oath exactly what happened." "Me too," Tyler said, holding up his phone. "I've got it all recorded, every second." "Same here," the elderly man in row 4 added. "My wife and I both saw the whole thing." "Count us in," someone called from row 7. "And us." "We'll all testify." One by one, passengers throughout the cabin volunteered to be witnesses. People who had been strangers 2 hours ago were now united by something bigger than themselves. Gloria felt tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, all of you. I don't know what to say." Margaret reached across the aisle and took her hand. "That little girl stood up for herself when nobody else would. The least we can do is stand up for her now." Maya was crying too, but she was smiling. "See, sweetheart," Gloria whispered. "Sometimes strangers really are the best friends you never knew you had." 1 hour and 53 minutes. Gloria's phone buzzed again. A text from Darnell. "Video has passed 5 million views. Maya is the top story on every news network in America. My legal team is already preparing a countersuit against Brennan. My PR team is handling media inquiries. Just focus on keeping her safe until you land." Gloria typed back, "She's being so strong, you would be amazed." The response came immediately. "I'm not amazed. I know exactly who my daughter is." Another message followed. "Tell her one thing for me." "What?" "Tell her that her grandfather would be proud. He faced men like Brennan every day of his life. He never backed down. Neither did she." Gloria showed the message to Maya. Maya read it twice, her lips moving silently. Then her eyes filled with fresh tears. "My Grandpa Richardson." "Yes, sweetheart. The one who started the company in his mama's garage. The one who fought his whole life so your daddy could have opportunities. Your daddy says you're just like him." Maya touched the captain's wings, still pinned to her hoodie. "I never met him. He died before I was born." "I know, baby. But he would have loved you so much. And today, you made him proud." Maya nodded slowly, processing this. Then she straightened her small shoulders with new resolve. "Okay," she said quietly. "I'm ready." "Ready for what?" "Whatever comes next. I'm not scared anymore." 2 hours and 7 minutes. Captain Hargrove's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the extended delay. I've just received word from ground control that we've been cleared for departure. Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff." A cheer erupted through the cabin. "Finally! Thank God! Let's get out of here." Gloria sagged with relief. It was over. They were finally leaving. But Kimberly appeared at their row, her face troubled. "Miss Thompson, before we take off, there's something you need to know." Gloria's relief evaporated instantly. "What now?" "News crews are already at the Phoenix airport. A lot of them. The airline has arranged for a private exit through a secure area, but..." She hesitated. "I can't guarantee they won't find you." Gloria looked at Maya. The little girl had gone pale. "I don't want to be on TV," Maya whispered. "I know, sweetheart. I know." Captain Hargrove appeared behind Kimberly. He crouched down beside Maya's seat, his weathered face gentle. "Young lady, I want you to know something. When we land, I'm going to personally escort you off this plane. I'll be right beside you the whole time. No reporter is going to get near you, not on my watch." Maya looked at him with those big, serious eyes. "Promise?" "I give you my word. I've been flying planes for 25 years. I've never broken a promise to a passenger, and I'm not starting today." Maya studied his face for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, I trust you." The captain stood and addressed Gloria. "Your employer has arranged for private security to meet you at the gate. They'll escort you to a vehicle. Everything is being handled." "Thank you, Captain, for everything." He gave her a small, warm smile. "That little girl taught me something today. She reminded me why integrity matters, why standing up matters, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I won't forget that." He returned to the cockpit. The engines roared to life. The plane began to move. 2 hours and 19 minutes. Gloria held Maya's hand as the aircraft taxied toward the runway. Through the window, the Texas sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. "Gloria," Maya said softly. "Yes, sweetheart. Do you think that man will ever understand what he did wrong?" Gloria considered the question carefully. She thought about Howard Brennan's face twisted with entitlement, his words dripping with contempt, the way he had looked at Maya like she was less than nothing. "I don't know, baby. Some people spend their whole lives refusing to see their own mistakes. They'd rather blame everyone else than look in the mirror." Maya nodded slowly. "That's sad." "It is. But I'm not going to let him make me sad. Daddy always says you can't control what other people do. You can only control what you do. And I did the right thing, so I'm going to be okay." Gloria felt tears threatening again. "Yes, baby girl. You're going to be more than okay. You're going to be amazing." The plane lifted off the ground. Through the window, Maya watched as Dallas grew smaller and smaller beneath them. The airport, the terminal, the gate where she had faced down a bully and won all of it shrinking into the distance. She pressed her palm against the cool glass. "Goodbye," she whispered. Gloria wasn't sure if Maya was saying goodbye to Texas or to the scared little girl she had been 3 hours ago. Maybe both. 2 hours and 34 minutes. The plane reached cruising altitude and the seatbelt sign dinged off. Passengers began to move around, but something was different. The strangers who had boarded this flight hours ago weren't strangers anymore. They had witnessed something together. They had been changed by it. Tyler walked up to Maya's row, his phone in hand again. His face was pale. "You need to see this," he said quietly. Gloria took the phone. The screen showed a news broadcast. A reporter was standing outside the Dallas airport, microphone in hand. "Breaking news tonight. The viral video of a 10-year-old girl standing up to an aggressive passenger has now been viewed over 10 million times. The girl has been identified as Maya Richardson, daughter of Texas billionaire Darnell Richardson." In a statement released moments ago, Richardson Technologies announced that the company will be donating $1 million to organizations fighting racial discrimination in the airline industry. Mr. Richardson himself is reportedly en route to Phoenix to be with his daughter. Gloria stared at the screen. 10 million views, $1 million donation. Darnell flying to Phoenix. This had become so much bigger than a stolen seat. Maya peered at the phone. "Daddy's giving away $1 million. "Yes, sweetheart. Because of what happened to me. Because of what you did. Because you stood up. And now other people are standing up too." Maya thought about this for a long moment. Then a small smile crossed her face. "That's good, right? That means something good came from something bad." Gloria kissed her forehead. "That's exactly what it means, baby girl. That's exactly what it means." 2 hours and 48 minutes. Margaret Chen walked over to their row. She was holding a business card. "Maya, I want you to have this." Maya took the card carefully. "What is it?" "My personal information. Phone number, email, everything. If Howard Brennan or his lawyers ever bother you or your family, I want you to call me. I spent 32 years on the federal bench. I know every good lawyer in this country. We'll make sure no one ever treats you like that man did again." Gloria took the card from Maya. "We can't thank you enough." "You don't need to thank me. That little girl reminded me why I became a judge in the first place, to protect people who can't protect themselves, to make sure justice means something." Margaret looked at Maya with soft eyes. "You keep being exactly who you are, sweetheart. The world needs more people like you. Maya nodded seriously. I will, I promise. Margaret returned to her seat. The elderly man from row 4 approached next. He was holding something in his weathered hands, a small wooden cross on a leather cord. Young lady, my name is Samuel. I'm 83 years old. I grew up in Alabama in the 1940s. I know exactly what that man meant when he said you didn't belong. I heard those words my whole life. He pressed the cross into Maya's hands. This belonged to my grandmother. She was born a slave. She gave this to my mother, who gave it to me. It's been in my family for over 150 years. I want you to have it. Maya's eyes went wide. I can't take this. It's too important. That's exactly why I want you to have it. My grandmother would have loved you, child. She would have seen herself in you. Someone small, someone overlooked, someone who refused to be broken. Maya looked at Gloria, who nodded with tears in her eyes. Thank you, Maya whispered, clutching the cross to her chest. I'll take care of it forever. Samuel patted her hand gently. I know you will. And 3 hours and 2 minutes, the pilot's voice came over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our descent into Phoenix. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. We should be on the ground in approximately 15 minutes. Gloria felt her stomach tighten. 15 minutes. Then the real test would begin. Maya seemed to sense her anxiety. Gloria, are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Just thinking. About the reporters. Yes. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke, and her words nearly stopped Gloria's heart. I don't want to sneak out the back. I don't want to hide. Gloria stared at her. Maya, there could be dozens of cameras out there. Maybe hundreds. I know, but if I hide, then that man wins. He wanted me to feel like I didn't belong, like I should be ashamed. But I'm not ashamed. I didn't do anything wrong. She lifted her chin. I want to walk out the front, like everyone else, like I belong. Gloria felt something shift in her chest. Pride, awe, a fierce, protective love. Are you sure? I'm sure. Maya touched the captain's wings on her hoodie, then the wooden cross around her neck. I have a lot of people with me now, even if I can't see them all. Gloria nodded slowly. Okay, baby girl, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. It's what I want. Then that's what we'll do. 3 hours and 14 minutes. The plane touched down in Phoenix with a gentle thump. Gloria watched through the window as the aircraft taxied toward the gate. Even from here, she could see them news vans, satellite dishes, crowds of people gathered near the terminal. They were all waiting for Maya. The cabin was buzzing with nervous energy. Passengers were craning their necks, pointing, whispering, "Look at all those cameras! This is insane. She's going to be the biggest story in the country tonight." She already is. Captain Hargrove's voice came over the intercom one final time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phoenix. Before we deplane, I need to say something. In 25 years of flying, I've never experienced a flight like this one. Today, I watched a 10-year-old girl teach a cabin full of adults what courage really looks like. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She simply held her ground and spoke the truth. I think we could all learn from her example. He paused, and his voice grew thick with emotion. To Maya Richardson, you know who you are. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us that integrity isn't something you talk about. It's something you live. You made every person on this flight proud today, and you made me proud to be your captain. The cabin erupted in thunderous applause. Maya's face turned bright red. Gloria hugged her close, crying openly now. The applause continued as passengers stood, gathered their belongings, and began filing toward the exit. But something extraordinary happened. Instead of pushing forward, people stopped at Maya's row. They wanted to speak to her, to thank her, to be part of something they would tell their grandchildren about. You were amazing, sweetheart. Don't ever let anyone make you feel small. Your parents raised a warrior. You're going to change the world someday. One by one, strangers offered words of love and encouragement to a 10-year-old girl they would never forget. When the cabin had emptied, Captain Hargrove appeared at their row. He extended his hand to Maya. Ready. Maya took a deep breath. She touched the wings on her hoodie, the cross around her neck. The boarding pass still clutched in her other hand, 3A, the seat she had fought for and won. "Ready," she said. They walked toward the jet bridge together, Gloria, Maya, and the captain who had promised to protect them. At the end of the tunnel, Gloria could hear the roar of the crowd, the shouted questions, the click of cameras. The world was waiting. Maya squared her small shoulders, she lifted her chin, and she walked forward into the light. The roar hit Maya like a wave the moment she stepped through the terminal doors. Cameras flashed from every direction. Reporters shouted her name. Microphones thrust toward her face. Security guards in black suits formed a wall around her, but nothing could block out the chaos. Maya over here. How do you feel about what happened? What do you want to say to Howard Brennan? Maya, did you know your video has been viewed 50 million times? Gloria's arm tightened around her shoulders. Captain Hargrove walked on her other side, his uniform a shield of authority. But Maya couldn't hear anything they were saying. The noise was too loud. The lights were too bright. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst. Then she heard it. Maya! A voice she would know anywhere. A voice that meant safety. A voice that meant home. She looked up and saw her father pushing through the crowd. Darnell Richardson was a tall man, broad-shouldered and powerful, with dark skin and close-cropped gray hair. He wore a simple black sweater and jeans, no suit, no tie, nothing that said Billionaire. He just looked like a dad who had flown across the country to protect his little girl. Daddy. Maya broke free from Gloria and ran. Darnell caught her in his arms and lifted her off the ground, crushing her against his chest. The cameras went wild, capturing every second, but neither of them cared. "I've got you," Darnell whispered into her hair. "I've got you, baby girl. You're safe now." Maya buried her face in his sweater. "Daddy, I was so scared." "I know, sweetheart, I know, but you were so brave. I watched the video on the plane. You were incredible. I just wanted to sit in my seat." Darnell pulled back and looked at her face, his hands cupping her cheeks. His eyes were wet. "And you did. You didn't back down. You didn't let him win. I've never been more proud of anything in my entire life." The security team formed a tight circle around them, blocking the reporters who were still shouting questions. Mr. Richardson, do you have a statement? Will you be pressing charges against Howard Brennan? What's your response to his lawsuit threats?" Darnell ignored them all. He looked at Gloria, who had caught up to them, her face streaked with tears. "Thank you," he said simply, "for protecting her, for standing by her." Gloria shook her head. "She didn't need much protecting, sir. She protected herself." Darnell smiled a real smile, the first one Maya had seen from him in a long time. "That's my girl." He turned to Captain Hargrove and extended his hand. "Captain, I understand you kept your promise to my daughter." The captain shook his hand firmly. "It was my honor, sir. She's a remarkable young lady." "I know." Darnell looked down at Maya, who was still clinging to his sweater. "I know." A security guard leaned in close. "Mr. Richardson, we need to move. The crowd is getting bigger." Darnell nodded. He swept Maya up in his arms, carrying her like she weighed nothing, and began walking toward the exit. The security team moved with them, a human fortress cutting through the chaos. But Maya lifted her head and looked back at the crowd, the reporters, the cameras, the strangers who had gathered to see the little girl from the viral video. "Daddy, wait." Darnell stopped. "What is it, sweetheart?" "I want to say something." Darnell looked at her with surprise. "Maya, you don't have to." "I know, but I want to." Gloria stepped forward. "Maya, are you sure there are a lot of cameras out there?" Maya nodded. "I'm sure. I don't want to hide. Hiding is what that man wanted me to do. I'm not going to give him that." Darnell studied his daughter's face for a long moment. Then he slowly set her down on her feet. "Okay," he said quietly. "What do you want to say?" Maya thought about it. She thought about Howard Brennan's face twisted with hatred. She thought about the passengers who had stayed silent and the ones who had spoken up. She thought about Margaret Chen and Samuel and Tyler and Captain Hargrove, all the strangers who had become friends. She took her father's hand and walked toward the reporters. The crowd went silent. 50 microphones pointed at her face. 100 cameras captured her every move. Millions of people would see this moment. Maya took a deep breath. "My name is Maya Richardson," she said, her voice clear and steady. "I'm 10 years old. Today a man stole my seat on an airplane. He said I didn't belong in first class. He said mean things about me and my family. He tried to make me feel like I was nothing." She paused, and the silence was absolute. "But I'm not nothing. I'm somebody." And so is every kid who's ever been told they don't belong somewhere. It doesn't matter what you look like or where you come from or how much money your family has. If you have a ticket, you have a seat. If you have a dream, you have a chance. No one gets to take that away from you. Tears were streaming down her face now, but her voice didn't waver. "I'm not mad at that man. I feel sorry for him, because he's going to spend the rest of his life knowing that a 10-year-old girl was braver than him, and that's really sad." She looked directly into the nearest camera. "To all the kids watching this, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel small. You belong wherever you want to be, and if someone tries to take that from you, look them in the eye and tell them no, because the only person who gets to decide your worth is you." She squeezed her father's hand. "That's all I wanted to say." The crowd exploded. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. But Maya had said what she needed to say. She turned and walked toward the exit, her father's hand in hers, her head held high. Behind her, Gloria was sobbing openly. Captain Hargrove was wiping his eyes. Even the stone-faced security guards looked moved. And somewhere in the crowd, a mother held her phone up to her daughter's ear and whispered, "Did you hear that, baby? That's what courage sounds like." 47 minutes after landing. The Richardson family motorcade pulled away from the airport, leaving the media frenzy behind. Maya sat in the back of a black SUV, her father on one side, Gloria on the other. Security vehicles flanked them front and back. Darnell was on his phone, his voice low and urgent. "I want every piece of information you can find on Howard Brennan. Employment history, financial records, social media, everything. I want to know who this man is and what makes him tick." Maya listened quietly. She had never heard her father talk like this before, cold, calculating, dangerous. "And contact the DA's office. I want to know exactly what charges they're considering. If they need additional evidence, we'll provide it. If they need witnesses, we have an entire plane full of them." He ended the call and looked at Maya. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I have to make some calls. Daddy has to—" "It's okay," Maya said softly. "You're protecting me. I understand." Darnell's expression softened. He pulled her close and kissed the top of her head. "You shouldn't have to understand things like this. You're 10 years old. You should be worrying about math tests and sleepovers, not lawsuits and media coverage." "I know, but that man made it about more than a seat, didn't he?" Darnell was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "Yes, baby, he did. What he did to you, what he said to you, it wasn't just about a seat. It was about something much uglier. And I'm going to make sure he faces consequences for it." Maya thought about this. What kind of consequences? Legal ones, financial ones, social ones. That man is going to learn that his actions have real costs. Will he go to jail? Maybe. That's up to the courts to decide. But even if he doesn't, his life is going to change. Everyone knows his name now. Everyone knows what he did. He'll never be able to hide from that. Maya nodded slowly. "Good." Gloria looked at her with surprise. "Good. Not because I want him to suffer, but because if there are no consequences, then other people will think they can do the same thing. And then more kids will get hurt. So yes, good." Darnell stared at his daughter with something like awe. "When did you get so wise?" Maya managed a small smile. "You taught me Daddy, you and Grandma and Grandpa Richardson. You taught me that actions have consequences and that standing up for yourself matters." "I guess I did." Darnell's voice was thick. "I just never thought you'd have to put those lessons into practice at 10 years old." "Me neither. But I did, and I'm glad I did." 1 hour and 12 minutes after landing. The SUV pulled up to a private estate in Scottsdale, Maya's grandmother's house. Eleanor Richardson stood waiting at the front door, her silver hair perfectly styled, her posture ramrod straight despite her 81 years. The moment Maya stepped out of the car, Eleanor swept her into a fierce embrace. "My brave girl," she whispered. "My brave, brave girl. Grandma, I missed you so much." "I know, baby. I've been watching the news all day. I saw everything." Eleanor pulled back and looked at Maya's face, her old eyes sharp and knowing. "You did good. You did exactly what your grandfather would have done." "Grandpa Richardson?" "Yes, Darnell Sr. He faced men like that his whole life, men who thought he didn't belong, men who tried to take what was his, and he never backed down, not once." Eleanor touched Maya's cheek gently. "You have his spirit, child, his fire. Don't ever let anyone put that out." Inside the house, Eleanor had prepared Maya's favorite meal, homemade mac and cheese, with a side of collard greens. But Maya barely touched her food. She was exhausted, emotionally drained, running on fumes. "Eat something, sweetheart," Gloria urged. "I'm not hungry." "You need your strength. Tomorrow is going to be another big day." Maya looked up. "What's happening tomorrow?" Darnell exchanged a glance with Eleanor. Then he took Maya's hand. "Baby, the whole world is talking about what happened to you. People want to hear your story. News programs, talk shows, magazines, they're all asking for interviews." Maya's face went pale. "More cameras. Only if you want. You don't have to talk to anyone. But," he hesitated, "there's one interview I think might be worth doing." "What interview?" "Good Morning America wants to have you on. Live tomorrow morning. They want to give you a chance to tell your own story in your own words." Maya's hand started shaking. "On TV, national TV?" "Yes, but only if you want to. If you say no, we say no. No pressure, no expectations." Maya looked at Gloria, who nodded encouragingly. Then she looked at her grandmother, whose eyes were filled with pride and love. "Grandma, what do you think?" Eleanor leaned forward. "I think you've already proven you can stand up under pressure. I think millions of people need to hear what you have to say. And I think your grandfather is looking down from heaven right now, cheering you on." Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, I'll do it." Darnell squeezed her hand. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. That man wanted to silence me. He wanted to make me invisible. Well, I'm not invisible anymore. And I'm not going to be silent." 2 hours and 34 minutes after landing, Maya was supposed to be sleeping, but she couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Howard Brennan's face, his sneer, his cruel words, the way he had looked at her like she was trash. She got out of bed and padded down the hallway. Light spilled from under her grandmother's study door. She pushed it open. Eleanor was sitting at her desk, looking at something on her computer. When she saw Maya, she smiled. "Can't sleep." Maya shook her head. "Bad dreams. Come here, child." Maya climbed into her grandmother's lap, something she hadn't done since she was 6 years old. But right now, she needed to feel small. She needed to feel safe. "What are you looking at?" Maya asked, peering at the computer screen. "The video. I've watched it 17 times now." "Why?" Eleanor was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Because I want to remember every second. The way you stood there. The way you didn't back down. The way you spoke the truth to that man's face." She shook her head slowly. "Do you know how many times I wished I could have done that when I was young?" Maya looked up at her. "Did people treat you like that too?" "All the time, baby. When I was your age, there were places I couldn't go. Restaurants that wouldn't serve me. Schools that wouldn't teach me. I got called names I won't repeat. I got pushed and shoved and spat on. And back then there were no cameras, no videos, no one to stand up for me." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "That's horrible, Grandma." "It was. But I survived. And I fought back in my own way. I went to college when they said I couldn't. I became a teacher when they said I shouldn't. I raised a son who became a billionaire and changed the world. That was my revenge." Eleanor looked at Maya with fierce love. "And now you're continuing the fight. You're showing the world that our family doesn't back down. We never have. We never will." Maya buried her face in her grandmother's shoulder. "I love you, Grandma. I love you too, baby girl. More than you'll ever know." 7 hours and 18 minutes after landing. 5:42 a.m. Maya woke to the sound of her father's voice. "Baby girl, it's time to get up. We have to get ready." She opened her eyes slowly. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was or what had happened. Then it all came flooding back. The plane, the seat, Howard Brennan, the video, the cameras. Today was Good Morning America. Gloria helped her get dressed, a simple blue dress with white trim, something that would look good on camera but still feel like Maya. She brushed Maya's hair and rebraided it, adding fresh beads that clicked softly when she moved. "How do you feel?" Gloria asked. "Nervous, really nervous." "That's normal. But remember, you've already done the hard part. You already stood up to a bully. This is just talking about it. On national television." "On national television," Gloria agreed. "But you can do this. I believe in you." A makeup artist arrived to do Maya's face, just a little powder to reduce shine, nothing that would make her look older than she was. A producer came to explain how the interview would work. They would be in a studio in Phoenix connected by satellite to the hosts in New York. "Just be yourself," the producer said. "Just tell your story." That's what everyone keeps saying, because it's the best advice there is. 8 hours and 45 minutes after landing, 7:15 a.m. The studio was smaller than Maya expected. Just a chair, a camera, an earpiece, and a small screen showing the Good Morning America hosts in New York. Robin Roberts smiled warmly at her through the screen. "Maya, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you feeling?" Maya took a deep breath. "Nervous, ma'am, but okay. That's completely understandable. You've been through a lot in the last 24 hours. Robin's expression grew serious. "Maya, can you tell us what happened on that plane?" And so Maya told her story. Again. She told them about walking onto the plane with Gloria, about finding a man in her seat, about asking politely for him to move, about the things he said, the way he looked at her, the way he made her feel. "He said I didn't belong," Maya said quietly. "He said first class wasn't for kids. But I think what he really meant was that first class wasn't for someone who looked like me." Robin nodded slowly. "How did that make you feel?" "Small. At first it made me feel really small, like maybe he was right, like maybe I didn't belong." Maya paused. "But then I remembered what my daddy always tells me. He says that my worth isn't determined by other people's opinions. It's determined by who I am and what I do. And I knew I was in the right. I had my ticket. I knew my seat number. He was the one breaking the rules, not me." "And yet you didn't yell or scream or throw a tantrum. You stayed calm the entire time. How did you manage that?" Maya thought about it. "Because yelling wouldn't have changed his mind. And screaming would have made me look like the problem. I didn't want to give him that. I wanted everyone to see the truth. That I was just a kid trying to sit in her seat, and he was a grown man acting like a bully." George Stephanopoulos leaned forward. "Maya, your video has now been viewed over 70 million times. 70 million. That's more people than live in most countries. How does that feel?" "Weird," Maya admitted. "Really, really weird. I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted to fly to Phoenix and see my grandma. I didn't want to be famous." "But you are famous now, and a lot of people are calling you a hero." Maya shook her head. "I'm not a hero. Heroes save people from fires and catch bad guys. I just didn't let someone take my seat. That's not heroic. That's just right." Robin smiled. "Maya, I've been a journalist for over 30 years. I've interviewed presidents and prime ministers, athletes, and astronauts. And I can honestly say that you are one of the most impressive people I've ever spoken to." Maya blushed deeply. "Thank you, ma'am." "One last question. What do you want to say to other kids who might be watching, kids who might face situations like yours?" Maya looked directly into the camera. "Don't be afraid. I know it's scary when grown-ups are mean to you. I know it feels like you can't do anything because you're small and they're big. But you can do something. You can speak up. You can tell the truth. You can stand your ground. And even if the adults around you don't help, even if no one else speaks up, at least you'll know you did the right thing. And that matters. That matters more than anything. Robin wiped her eyes. George cleared his throat. Maya Richardson, thank you for being with us this morning. And thank you for reminding us all what courage really looks like. The cameras turned off. Maya let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Her father was at her side in seconds, lifting her out of the chair and hugging her tight. You did it, baby girl. You did it. Did I do okay? You were perfect. Absolutely perfect. 10 hours and 12 minutes after landing. The interview went viral within minutes. Clips spread across social media like wildfire. Don't be afraid became a hashtag. That's not heroic, that's just right, was quoted on news programs around the world. Hashtag Maya Richardson trended in 15 countries, but something else was happening too. In Dallas, the district attorney held a press conference announcing that Howard Brennan would be charged with multiple federal offenses, including interference with a flight crew and committing a hate crime. If convicted, he faced up to 20 years in prison. In New York, the airline's CEO appeared on camera to announce a complete overhaul of their crew training programs, specifically focused on handling discrimination and protecting vulnerable passengers. He also announced a $10 million donation to civil rights organizations made in Maya's name. In Washington, 2 senators introduced new legislation called the Maya's Law, which would increase penalties for hate crimes committed on public transportation. And in living rooms across America, parents sat their children down and showed them the video of a 10-year-old girl who refused to back down. See that, they said. That's what bravery looks like. 11 hours and 43 minutes after landing. Maya was in her grandmother's garden when Gloria found her. Maya, there's someone on the phone for you. Maya looked up from the flowers she'd been examining. Who? She says her name is Michelle Obama. Maya's jaw dropped. What? Gloria was crying again, happy tears this time. The former First Lady wants to talk to you, sweetheart. Maya took the phone with trembling hands. Hello. Maya. A warm, familiar voice filled her ear. This is Michelle Obama. I hope I'm not bothering you. No, ma'am. You're not bothering me at all. Good, because I've been trying to reach you all morning. I saw your interview on GMA and I just had to call. A pause. Maya, what you did on that plane was extraordinary, and what you said this morning was even more extraordinary. You reminded me of why I spent 8 years fighting for young people like you. Maya didn't know what to say. She was talking to Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama. I especially loved what you said about courage, the former First Lady continued, that it's not about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. That's exactly right. That's something it took me decades to learn, and you already know it at 10 years old. My daddy taught me that, Maya managed. Your daddy sounds like a wise man. He is. Maya, I want you to know that what you did matters. It matters more than you can possibly understand right now. You gave voice to millions of children who have been told they don't belong. You showed them that they can stand up, that they can speak out, that they can demand their rightful place in this world. Another pause. You're a role model now, whether you wanted to be or not. That's a big responsibility, but from what I've seen, you're more than up to it. Maya felt tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Mrs. Obama. That means so much to me. You're welcome, sweetheart. And Maya, yes, ma'am, keep being exactly who you are. The world needs more people like you. The call ended. Maya stood in the garden, the phone still pressed to her ear, tears dripping onto the flowers at her feet. Gloria walked over and took the phone gently. Are you okay? Maya nodded, unable to speak. What did she say? Maya looked up at her eyes shining. She said, I'm a role model. She said the world needs more people like me. Gloria hugged her tight. She's right. She's absolutely right. 12 hours and 56 minutes after landing. Darnell found Maya in her grandmother's study, looking at something on the computer. "What are you reading, baby girl?" Maya turned the screen so he could see. It was a news article about Howard Brennan, a detailed profile of who he was and where he came from. "He grew up poor," Maya said quietly. "His father left when he was 3. His mother worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. He put himself through community college, worked his way up to middle management at a trucking company." Darnell sat down beside her. "Why are you reading this?" "Because I wanted to understand him. I wanted to know why he hated me so much." Maya looked at her father with thoughtful eyes. "He spent his whole life feeling like he didn't belong, like he had to fight for everything, like people were always looking down on him. And when he finally got enough money to fly first class, he saw me there, a little black girl in the seat he wanted, and he couldn't handle it." Darnell was quiet for a long moment. "That's a very mature observation. I'm not making excuses for him. What he did was wrong. What he said was horrible. But I think I understand a little bit better now. He wasn't really angry at me. He was angry at his whole life. I was just the person he took it out on." "Does understanding him make you feel better?" Maya thought about it. "A little. Not better about what he did, but better about myself. Because I know now that it wasn't really about me. It was about him, his fears, his insecurities, his broken parts." Darnell pulled his daughter close. "You're wiser than I was at your age. You're wiser than I am now. I learned from you, Daddy. Maybe, but you're teaching me things too." "Like what?" Darnell looked at her with eyes full of love and pride. "Like how to be brave even when you're scared. Like how to stand up for what's right even when everyone else is silent. Like how to face hate with dignity instead of anger." He kissed her forehead. "You're my hero, Maya Richardson. My 10-year-old hero." Maya smiled a real smile, the first true smile since this whole nightmare began. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, baby girl. More than words can say." 14 hours after landing. The sun was setting over Scottsdale, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and purple. Maya sat on her grandmother's porch watching the colors change, feeling something shift inside her. She was different now. She could feel it. The girl who had walked onto that plane this morning was not the same girl sitting here tonight. She had faced something ugly and refused to break. She had stood up when it would have been easier to sit down. She had spoken out when it would have been safer to stay silent. Gloria came out to join her. "How are you feeling?" Maya considered the question carefully. "Different, changed, but in a good way." "Good different?" "I think so. I mean, I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't want to be famous or give interviews or have people know my name. I just wanted to see my grandma." Maya paused. "But now that it happened, I'm glad I didn't run away. I'm glad I didn't hide, because maybe something good will come from it. Maybe other kids will see what I did and know they can do it too." Gloria sat down beside her. "You know what I admire most about you? What? You never once thought only about yourself. Even in the worst moments, you were thinking about other people, other kids who might face the same thing, other passengers who were watching. Even Howard Brennan, you tried to understand him instead of just hating him. Hating him would be easy. Understanding him is harder. That's exactly what I mean. You choose the harder path because it's the right path. That's rare, Maya. That's precious. Don't ever lose that." Maya looked out at the sunset, at the colors bleeding into each other, at the day slowly surrendering to night. "Gloria, yes, sweetheart. Thank you for being there, on the plane. When no one else would stand up for me, you did. You never left my side." Gloria's eyes filled with tears. "I would never leave your side, Maya. Never. You're like my own daughter. I would walk through fire for you." Maya reached over and took her hand. "I know. That's why I love you." They sat together in silence, watching the sun disappear below the horizon, marking the end of the longest day of Maya Richardson's young life. But Maya knew this wasn't really an end. It was a beginning. A beginning of something she couldn't quite understand, yet something bigger than herself, bigger than one plane ride, bigger than one stolen seat. She had stood up for herself, and in doing so, she had stood up for everyone who had ever been told they didn't belong. The video would keep spreading, the story would keep growing, the conversation would keep evolving, and Maya would be at the center of it all, not because she wanted to be, but because she had earned her place there, just like she had earned her place in seat 3A. 3 weeks had passed since that day on the plane, and Maya Richardson's life would never be the same. She was sitting in her father's home office in Houston when Gloria knocked on the door. "Maya, your father needs to see you. It's important." Maya looked up from her homework. "Is everything okay?" Gloria's face was unreadable. "You should come now." Maya followed Gloria down the hallway, her heart beating faster with each step. Something had happened. She could feel it in the air, in the way Gloria walked, in the silence that hung between them like a held breath. Darnell was standing behind his desk, his phone pressed to his ear. When he saw Maya, he held up one finger, then spoke into the phone. "Yes, I understand. Thank you for calling me personally. I appreciate it." He ended the call and looked at his daughter. "Sit down, baby girl." Maya sat in the leather chair across from his desk. "Daddy, what's wrong?" Darnell walked around the desk and crouched down so they were eye to eye. "Nothing's wrong. Something's right. Very right." He took her hands in his. "The district attorney just called me. Howard Brennan pled guilty this morning." Maya's breath caught. "Guilty." "To all charges, interference with a flight crew, disorderly conduct, and the hate crime enhancement." Darnell's voice was thick with emotion. "He's going to prison, Maya. 7 years." Maya sat very still, processing the words. 7 years. The man who had stolen her seat, who had told her she didn't belong, who had tried to make her feel worthless, he was going to prison for 7 years. 7 years, she whispered. 7 years. And when he gets out, he'll be a registered offender. His name will follow him everywhere. Every job application, every background check, every new person he meets, they'll all know what he did. Maya expected to feel happy, triumphant, vindicated. But she didn't. She felt something else entirely. "Daddy, is he scared?" Darnell blinked. "What?" "Howard Brennan. Is he scared right now?" Darnell studied her face carefully. "I imagine he is, sweetheart. Prison is a frightening place." Maya nodded slowly. "Good." Gloria sucked in a breath. Maya looked at her. "I don't mean I'm glad he's scared. I mean, I'm glad he finally understands what it feels like, to be powerless, to have someone bigger than you decide your fate, to not be in control." She turned back to her father. "He made me feel that way on the plane. Small, powerless, like nothing I said or did mattered. And now he knows how that feels. Maybe he'll learn something from it." Darnell was quiet for a long moment. "You're a better person than I am, Maya. If someone had treated me the way he treated you, I'd want them to suffer." I did want him to suffer, at first, but then I thought about what Grandma Eleanor said, about how hate eats you from the inside out, and I don't want to be eaten. Maya squeezed her father's hands. "I want to move on. I want this to be over." "It's almost over, baby girl, almost. Almost." Darnell stood up and walked to the window. "There's one more thing. The airline has agreed to a settlement. I thought we turned down their money. We turned down their hush money. This is different." Darnell turned to face her. "This is compensation for what you went through, what you continue to go through. $25 million. Maya's jaw dropped. $25 million, yes. That's so much money." "It is, and it's yours, every penny." Darnell walked back to her and crouched down again. "But here's the thing, Maya. You don't have to keep it. You can do whatever you want with it. Save it, invest it, give it away, whatever feels right to you." Maya thought about it. She thought about the settlement, about the money, about what it represented. Then she knew exactly what she wanted to do. I want to start a foundation. Darnell's eyebrows rose. A foundation? For kids. Kids who face discrimination. Kids who get bullied. Kids who are told they don't belong. Maya's voice grew stronger. I want to help them the way everyone helped me. I want them to know they're not alone. Gloria was crying openly now. Darnell's eyes were wet too. That's a beautiful idea, sweetheart. Can we do it? Can we really do it? We can do anything you want. I'll have my lawyer set it up this week. Maya jumped out of the chair and threw her arms around her father's neck. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. Don't thank me. This is your victory, Maya. Your foundation. Your legacy. Our legacy, Maya corrected. The Richardson family legacy. Standing up when others stay silent. 2 hours later. The news of Howard Brennan's guilty plea spread like wildfire. Maya watched the coverage on TV with her grandmother, who had flown in from Phoenix for the occasion. Headlines scrolled across the screen. Airplane bully pleads guilty to hate crime. Maya Richardson's abuser sentenced to 7 years. Justice served man who stole child's seat, headed to prison. Eleanor Richardson shook her head slowly. In my day, men like him got away with everything. There were no cameras, no social media, no one to hold them accountable. They could say whatever they wanted to people like us, and nothing happened. Things are different now, Grandma. They are. Because of people like you. People who refuse to accept injustice. People who speak up even when it's hard. Maya leaned against her grandmother's shoulder. Do you think I did the right thing, going public, doing all those interviews, letting everyone know who I am? Eleanor was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I think you did the brave thing, and in my experience, the brave thing and the right thing are usually the same. I'm still scared sometimes. When I go out in public and people recognize me, when I read comments on the internet about myself, when I think about what that man said to me. Of course you're scared. Fear doesn't go away just because you face it. It stays with you, reminding you of what you overcame. Eleanor took Maya's hand. But here's what I want you to remember. You faced the fear. You didn't let it stop you. And because of that, millions of people around the world know your name. They know your story. They know that a 10-year-old girl from Texas refused to be silenced. Is that a good thing? It's a powerful thing. What you do with that power is up to you. Maya thought about the foundation, about all the kids she could help, about the difference she could make. I'm going to use it for good, she said firmly. I'm going to make sure no kid ever has to feel the way I felt on that plane. Eleanor smiled. That's my girl. 4 hours later. Maya's phone rang. She didn't recognize the number, but something made her answer it. Hello? Is this Maya Richardson? Yes. Who is this? My name is Sarah Brennan. I'm Howard Brennan's daughter. Maya's heart stopped. Please don't hang up, Sarah said quickly. I know you have every reason to, but please just give me 2 minutes. Maya's hand was shaking. She looked at Gloria, who was watching her with concern. Okay, Maya said slowly. 2 minutes. Sarah let out a breath. Thank you. I don't know where to start. I saw the video. I saw what my father did to you. What he said to you. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry, Maya. I'm so sorry. Maya didn't know what to say. My father, he wasn't always like this. When I was your age, he was kind. He was funny. He taught me how to ride a bike. He came to all my soccer games. Sarah was crying now. But something changed in him over the years. He got angry, bitter. He started blaming other people for everything wrong in his life. He said things I never thought I'd hear from him. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know that the man in that video isn't the only thing my father ever was. He was more than that. He made mistakes, terrible, unforgivable mistakes, but he's still my dad. Sarah's voice dropped. And I'm going to lose him for 7 years because of what he did to you. Maya felt something twist in her chest. I didn't ask for him to go to prison. I know you didn't. And I'm not blaming you. What he did was wrong. He deserves to face consequences. Sarah took a shaky breath, took a sad But I wanted you to hear from me personally that I'm sorry. On behalf of my family, I'm sorry for what my father put you through. No child should ever be treated that way. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that surprised even herself. I forgive him. Sarah gasped. What? I forgive your father. Not because what he did was okay, it wasn't, but because holding on to anger won't help either of us. He's going to pay for what he did, and I'm going to move on with my life. Maya's voice was steady. I hope he uses his time in prison to become a better person. I hope when he gets out he's different. Not for my sake, but for yours. Sarah was sobbing now. You're an incredible person, Maya. I don't know if I could forgive someone who hurt my family the way my father hurt you. I had to learn how. It wasn't easy. But my grandmother taught me that forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of hate. Your grandmother sounds wise. She is. She's the wisest person I know. There was a long pause. Maya, can I ask you something? Yes. When you start your foundation, I heard about it on the news. Would you ever consider letting me volunteer? I want to do something good. I want to help make up for what my father did. Maya thought about it. The daughter of the man who had tried to destroy her, asking to help build something beautiful from the wreckage. Yes, Maya said finally. I think I'd like that. Really? Really. Everyone deserves a chance to do better, even the families of people who hurt us. Sarah's voice was thick with gratitude. Thank you, Maya. Thank you more than I can ever express. You're welcome. And Sarah, yes, take care of yourself. This isn't your burden to carry. What your father did is on him, not you. I'm trying to remember that. Keep trying, it gets easier. The call ended. Gloria was staring at Maya with something like awe. Did you just forgive Howard Brennan? Maya nodded. And invite his daughter to volunteer at your foundation? Yes. Gloria shook her head slowly. Maya Richardson, you are something else. I'm just trying to be the person I want to be, the person my Grandpa Richardson would be proud of. Baby girl, he'd be more than proud, he'd be amazed. 6 days later, the Maya Richardson Foundation was officially launched. The announcement was made at a press conference in Houston with Darnell at Maya's side. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions, and social media exploded with the news. But the real moment came when Maya stepped up to the microphone. Thank you all for being here. She said, her voice clear and strong despite her nerves. 3 weeks ago, I was just a kid trying to fly to Phoenix to see my grandma. I had no idea that one plane ride would change my life forever. The room was silent, hanging on her every word. A man stole my seat that day, but he tried to steal something more than that. He tried to steal my dignity, my confidence, my belief that I belonged in this world. Maya paused. He failed. Applause rippled through the room. I'm starting this foundation because I know there are millions of kids out there who face what I faced. Kids who are told they don't belong because of how they look or where they come from or who their parents are. Kids who are bullied and harassed and made to feel worthless. Maya's eyes swept across the crowd. I want those kids to know they're not alone. I want them to know that someone believes in them, that someone will fight for them, that someone will stand beside them when the world tries to push them down. She took a deep breath. The Maya Richardson Foundation will provide scholarships, mentorship, legal assistance, and counseling to children who face discrimination. We will work with schools, airlines, businesses, and communities to create safer spaces for all kids. And we will never, ever stop fighting until every child in America really knows that they belong. The room erupted in applause. Darnell put his arm around Maya's shoulders, tears streaming down his face. That's my girl, he whispered. That's my extraordinary girl. 2 weeks after the foundation launch, Maya received her first letter from a child the foundation had helped. Her name was Destiny Williams. She was 8 years old from a small town in Mississippi. She had been bullied at school for months, called names, pushed around, told she didn't belong because of the color of her skin. After seeing Maya's story on the news, Destiny had told her mother about the bullying. Her mother had contacted the foundation. Within days, they had connected Destiny with a counselor worked with her school to address the bullying and enrolled her in a mentorship program. Destiny's letter was written in careful, childish handwriting. Dear Maya, thank you for being brave. When I saw you on TV, I thought if she can stand up, maybe I can too. Now the kids at school don't bother me anymore. My counselor says I'm getting stronger every day. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to help other kids too. Your friend, Destiny. Maya read the letter 3 times, then she burst into tears. Gloria found her in her room, clutching the letter to her chest. Maya, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Maya looked up with shining eyes. Everything's right. Everything's finally right. She showed Gloria the letter. Gloria read it, then sat down on the bed and pulled Maya into a hug. You did this, sweetheart. You changed this little girl's life. The foundation changed her life, the counselors, the mentors. No. Gloria pulled back and looked at her firmly. You, your courage, your willingness to speak out. If you hadn't stood up on that plane, none of this would exist. Destiny would still be suffering. Millions of kids would still be suffering in silence. Maya thought about that, about the butterfly effect of one decision, about how refusing to give up her seat had rippled outward, touching lives she would never even know about. I didn't plan any of this, she said quietly. The best things in life rarely happen according to plan. They happen because someone is brave enough to do the right thing, even when they don't know where it will lead. Maya nodded slowly. Then she picked up a pen and a piece of paper. What are you doing? Gloria asked. Writing back to Destiny. She needs to know I believe in her. 3 months after the incident, Maya stood at the front of her school auditorium looking out at hundreds of faces. Students, teachers, parents, all of them waiting to hear her speak. It was her first public appearance since the foundation launch. Her first time talking to kids her own age about what had happened. She was terrified, but she remembered what her grandmother had told her. That fear doesn't go away. That bravery isn't about not being scared. That the right thing and the brave thing are usually the same. She took a deep breath and began. 3 months ago, I was just like you. A regular kid going to school, doing homework, complaining about vegetables at dinner. A few kids laughed. But then something happened that changed everything. I was on an airplane going to visit my grandma, and a man stole my seat. He looked at me and decided I didn't belong. He said mean things, cruel things, things that made me want to shrink and disappear. The auditorium was completely silent. But I didn't shrink. I didn't disappear. I stood up, not because I'm special or brave or different from any of you. I stood up because I knew I was right. And when you know you're right, standing up is the only thing you can do. Maya looked at the faces before her Black, white, Asian, Hispanic kids from every background imaginable. Some of you have probably faced what I faced. Maybe not on an airplane, but somewhere else. Maybe someone told you that you couldn't do something because of how you look. Maybe someone made fun of your clothes or your accent or your family. Maybe someone tried to make you feel like you didn't belong. She saw heads nodding. Here's what I want you to know. You belong. You belong everywhere. In first class in the front row, at the best table at the top of the class, wherever you want to be, you belong there. Don't let anyone tell you different. Don't let anyone steal your seat. Maya felt tears threatening, but she pushed through. And if you ever feel alone, if you ever feel like no one is on your side, remember me. Remember my story. Remember that a 10-year-old girl from Texas refused to back down, and the whole world stood behind her. The world will stand behind you too. You just have to give them the chance. She stepped back from the microphone. The auditorium exploded. Kids were standing cheering, clapping, some of them crying. Teachers were wiping their eyes. Parents were holding each other. And Maya Richardson, 10 years old, stood at the center of it all, not because she had asked for it, but because she had earned it. 1 year later. The anniversary of the incident arrived quietly. Maya woke up in her own bed, in her own room, in the same house she had lived in her whole life. For a moment, she just lay there thinking about how much had changed in 12 months. The Maya Richardson Foundation had helped over 10,000 children across the country. Schools had invited her to speak. Companies had changed their policies. Laws had been passed. Lives had been transformed. And Howard Brennan was still in prison serving his sentence. Maya got out of bed and walked to her desk. On it sat 3 items: the captain's wings from that day on the plane, the wooden cross from Samuel, and the first letter she had received from Destiny Williams. She touched each one gently. Her phone buzzed. A text from Gloria. "Happy anniversary, sweetheart. 1 year since you changed the world." Maya smiled and typed back, "I didn't change the world, I just stood up." Gloria's response came immediately. "That's the same thing, baby girl." There was a knock on her door. "Come in," Maya called. Darnell entered, holding a small box wrapped in gold paper. "Happy anniversary, Maya." "Daddy, you didn't have to get me anything." "I know, but I wanted to." He handed her the box. "Open it." Maya unwrapped the paper carefully and lifted the lid. Inside was a diamond pendant in the shape of an airplane. "It's beautiful," she breathed. "Turn it over." Maya turned the pendant and saw an inscription on the back, 3A, where courage took flight. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Daddy!" "I had it made special," Darnell said, his own voice thick with emotion. "I wanted you to have something to remember that day. Not because of the pain, but because of the triumph. You turned the worst day of your life into the beginning of something beautiful." Maya threw her arms around him. "Thank you, Daddy. I love it." "I love you, baby girl. I'm prouder of you than I've ever been of anything." That afternoon, Maya received a letter in the mail. The return address was from a federal prison in Texas. She knew immediately who it was from. Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. "Dear Maya, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed to write it anyway. 1 year ago, I did something terrible. I stole your seat on that airplane. But more than that, I tried to steal your dignity, your sense of belonging, your belief in yourself. And for that, I am sorrier than words can express. I've had a lot of time to think in here, a lot of time to look at myself honestly. And I don't like what I see. I was angry, bitter, full of hate. I blamed everyone else for my problems instead of looking in the mirror. And when I saw you, a young black girl in first class, all that ugliness came pouring out. You didn't deserve any of it. You were just a child trying to sit in her seat and fly to see her grandmother. And I treated you like a criminal. I've been watching the news about your foundation, about all the kids you're helping, about the speeches you're giving. And I realized something. The thing I tried to destroy in you, your spirit, your courage, your dignity, it didn't break. It grew stronger. You took the worst thing I ever did and turned it into something beautiful. I can't undo what I did. I can't take back the words I said, but I can tell you this, you changed me. Not in the moment, I was too proud and angry for that. But over time, watching your story unfold, seeing the person you've become, I started to see myself differently, to see my actions differently, to see the world differently. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that your courage mattered. It didn't just change your life, it changed mine too. Maybe when I get out, I'll be a different person. Maybe I'll find a way to make amends. Maybe I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of the second chance you talked about. Thank you, Maya, for being braver than I ever was, for showing me what true strength looks like, for being the person I should have been. With deepest regret and respect, Howard Brennan. Maya read the letter twice. Then she set it down on her desk next to the captain's wings and the wooden cross and Destiny's letter. Gloria appeared in the doorway. "What's that?" "A letter from Howard Brennan." Gloria's eyes widened. "What does it say?" "He says I changed him. He says he's sorry. He says he wants to be a better person." "Do you believe him?" Maya thought about it carefully. "I believe he means it right now. Whether he'll still mean it when he gets out, I don't know. People can change, but they have to want to. They have to do the work." "What are you going to do with the letter?" Maya looked at the piece of paper, the words of the man who had tried to destroy her, now asking for her grace. "I'm going to keep it, as a reminder." "Of what?" that even the worst people can recognize when they're wrong, that even the hardest hearts can crack open, and that courage, real courage, doesn't just change the person who shows it, it changes everyone who sees it. Gloria walked over and hugged her tight. "You're not 10 years old anymore, are you?" Maya smiled. "I'll always be your baby girl." "Yes, you will. But you're also something more now, something the world needed, something it will never forget." That evening, Maya sat on the roof of her house watching the sun set over Houston. It was her favorite spot, the place she came when she needed to think, to breathe, to remember who she was. 1 year ago, she had been nobody special, just a kid with good grades and a famous father, and a dream of looking at clouds from first class. Now she was something else entirely, a symbol, a voice, a light in the darkness for children who had none. She hadn't asked for any of it, but she wouldn't trade it for the world. Her phone buzzed, a text from Destiny Williams, now 9 years old and thriving. "Happy anniversary, Maya. You're my hero forever." Maya smiled and typed back, "You're my hero too. Destiny, keep shining." She looked up at the sky, painted in shades of orange and purple, and thought about all the children out there who were facing what she had faced. Children who felt small and powerless. Children who wondered if they belonged. Children who were afraid to speak up. She thought about what she would tell them if they were sitting here beside her. "Don't be afraid. Your voice matters. You belong. No one gets to steal your seat. And if they try, stand up. Stand up and tell them no. Stand up and tell the truth. Stand up and refuse to be moved. Because the only person who gets to decide your worth is you." Maya Richardson touched the diamond airplane pendant around her neck 3A, where courage took flight, and smiled. She had started that day as a scared little girl on an airplane. She had ended it as something more. And now 1 year later, she finally understood what her grandmother had told her all along. Courage doesn't roar. Sometimes it just stands quietly in the aisle holding a boarding pass, refusing to give up what belongs to it. Sometimes it speaks in a soft voice that carries farther than any shout. Sometimes it forgives the unforgivable and loves the unlovable and hopes for the hopeless. That's what courage is. That's what Maya Richardson is. And that's what every child who hears her story can become. Not a victim, not a statistic, not a name on a viral video, but a voice, a light, a force that cannot be ignored, cannot be silenced, cannot be moved. Maya Richardson stood up on an airplane when she was 10 years old, and the whole world rose with her. This story is not about a stolen seat. It's not about a cruel man or a viral video or a billion-dollar foundation. It's about the simple, powerful truth that lives in every child's heart. You belong. You matter. You are enough. And no one gets to tell you otherwise. That is the lesson of Maya Richardson. That is her gift to the world. And it is a gift that will echo through generations, long after the headlines fade, long after the video is forgotten, long after Maya herself is gone. Because courage never dies. It just passes from one brave heart to the next, like a flame that refuses to be extinguished. So the next time someone tells you that you don't belong, remember Maya. Remember the little girl who refused to give up her seat. Remember her quiet voice saying, "You know you're wrong." And then stand up. Stand up and speak your truth. Stand up and claim your place. Stand up and change the world, because that's what Maya Richardson did. And that's what you can do too. The end is never really the end. It's just the beginning of a story that hasn't been written yet. Maya Richardson's story began with a stolen seat. Yours can begin with whatever challenge you're facing right now. The question isn't whether you're brave enough. The question is whether you're willing to try. Maya was willing. And because she was willing, millions of children will never feel alone again. That is her legacy. That is her victory. And that is the truth that will outlast everything else. Courage changes the world. One seat at a time, one voice at a time, one heart at a time. Maya Richardson proved that. Now it's your turn.